Yo, YouTube, what's up with your boy? Sports and Fitness Rant. I'm back, guys. Click that like button. Subscribe to my channel. What's up, y'all? Welcome back. And welcome to another Friday Night Live, Friday Night Rants, Friday Night Edition. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back, man, to another Friday Night Rants. You guys know the deal, man. We got a lot to talk about today. You guys know tonight we're going to talk about some things, man. Goodness gracious. I'm telling you, sometimes, the universe just works out in certain, the world works in mysterious ways, right? So once again, man, shout out to all you guys out there, man. You guys know the deal on this channel. It's all about setting the record straight, stopping the lies, stopping the narratives, stopping them from rewriting history, guys. Oh, man, like I said, you guys know the deal, man. We got a lot to talk about. Shout out to all you guys, man. Again, man, I want to thank you guys, everyone across the world, everyone across the states that continues to support my channel, the live shows, everything, guys. You guys know I am truly, truly humbled. Like I said, the same people always here, man. You guys know that, man. And you guys know what to do. Turn the volume all the way up. You better turn that volume up. Turn it up. Hit that play button. Remember, these videos, these lives, are for educational purposes. And let's roll. So, yes, guys, shout out to everybody out there, man. Shout out to my man, Jesse Glasssack, for coming through. Like I said, it means a lot to see the same names always coming through and supporting the lives. Bandhead, what up, man? Shout out to you. Thank you very much, guys, for coming through. Laney Music. Once again, you guys know the deal. We got a lot to laugh about. Again, man, I told you, the world works in mysterious ways, man. It just does. Like I said, things just work out sometimes, and it's perfect timing sometimes for some of this stuff. Shout out to the Jordan Stopper for coming through. What up? Callie Young, you know the deal, baby. Yes, sir. Shout out to you guys. Anthony Sanchez, what up, man? Thank you guys for coming through. Hope you guys are having a good week, hope you guys had a good week. I hope your Friday night is going good. Come and hang out with me for a little bit, man, on a Friday night. I appreciate it. Once again, Renee, shout out to you for coming through. Machiavelli the Don, my man, always coming through. He said he injured his back. It's spinal. That's right. Shout out to Cameron MCOC. J-Bo Music. Shout out to you guys. Fanboys. That's what my man in comment says. Sense would say Fanboy Fridays. Shout out to my man 93 Zay. Fanboys. Shout out to my man, the Real Siberius, man. Always coming through, man. It means a lot. Shout out to you again, man. Your email, man, it hit me in the heart, man. So once again, man, thank you very much for all your support. My man Chase 1738 always coming through. You guys know the deal, man. Andrew Music, happy Friday to you guys, man. Hope you guys had a great week. TG, what up? Fancy, shout out to you. How you doing? I hope everybody's doing good. Rookie, what up, man? 30590, always here. What's up with you? You guys know, man. I'm telling you, man. Hayden Phoenix. Just funny stuff out here, man. Shout out to you guys, man, for always coming through. Like I said, man, it really means a lot. Howard Hollis, what up, man? Boom Shakalaka, what up? Thank you very much, man. Like I said, I'm truly humble, man. You guys continue to come through. JJ5289. That's right. We gonna, LeBron James gonna come in with some excuses because we all know the deal. Shout out to my man, NBA Sports News. That's right. You know the deal, baby. The LeBron stopper. Yo, so again, man, thank you to all you guys for coming through. Hope you guys had a good week. Hope you guys are having a good Friday. Like I said, man, I really appreciate you guys coming through on a Friday night for a little bit with me. Maybe you guys are pre-gaming, you know what I'm saying, or whatever you're doing right now. You know what I'm saying? Turn that volume up because, like I said, man, sometimes things just work out perfectly and things just kind of like fall right into your lap. Shout out to my man Speed Eagle. Yeah, they going to be real quiet. I told you, I've been getting the comments, LeBron James 5th ring loading for weeks now. Weeks. When they were at like that 7-game win streak, I was getting all kinds of comments. I still got them getting ready for LeBron James fans say weird things, guys. I'm telling you, people tell me to delete my channel when LeBron James wins his 5th ring. But yeah, they're going to be real quiet now because, like I said, and once again, man, we all saw what just happened. Luka Doncic now going out for the regular season now with a hamstring injury. And let me just say off the top, and let's be very clear, because I know we all feel the same way. We never wish injury on any of these guys. None of us are laughing at Luka Doncic being injured. We laugh at guys like LeBron James always faking injuries. We laugh at these guys always faking injuries and not having real injuries. That's what we laugh at. So again, no one's laughing or anyone wish or want these guys to actually get injured. Nobody wants to see Luka Doncic be injured. And let's also understand something also off the top. when it comes to a hamstring injury. And anyone who's played sports, once again, and you have an experience with a hamstring injury, me, myself, I've had experiences with hamstring injuries playing football. So again, a hamstring injury is tough, all right? Because like I said, it's one of those things where it could have to do with your pain threshold, but it could also have to do with the severity of the hamstring, because this is something where the only way it's going to get better is by rest. You can't play with a hamstring. Like, you have to rest the hamstring. So even if you rest it and you try to come back too soon, you'll go right back to where you were. That's how these things work. Anyone that said has experienced kind of things, that's where it is. So a hamstring, like I said, for Luka Doncic, you don't want this. Now, Luka Doncic's game is not predicated on athleticism strictly. So, it's mostly predicated on his skills and his ability to draw fouls and get to the free throw line, right? Make shots, right? Create shots. But a hamstring is no joke. Again, shout out to you guys, man. Mad Dog, what up? Yeah, exactly. You know the deal, man. These are the facts. John Loso, shout out to you for coming through. Yeah, man, I'm telling you, these are the facts, man. Old school NBA fan, what up? So there was a couple of things I want to talk about. Because like I said, you guys know, there's a lot to talk about as far as the Lakers and the game that we saw last night. And I told you guys, I was watching, I cut it on. It was like 3 minutes to go in the first quarter. And I watched the entire, the rest of that quarter, and I watched the entire second quarter. And when I went to bed, like I said, I don't remember exactly what the score was. It was like 80-something to like 40 or whatever it was. I mean, they were getting beat down. I mean, it was an embarrassment as far as like the competitiveness of the game from the tip. But like I said, when I went to bed at halftime, they were getting beat down, guys. But I watched, like I said, a good part of that game. I told you inside second quarter. And my goodness, man, I can tell you, listening to Stan Van Gundy during that broadcast while watching LeBron James, do what or not do anything out there. And like I said, just, the lack of competitiveness is crazy. But there's some other things I want to talk about. There's been, like I said, there's always some weird stuff going on. Some of you guys were asking me to touch on or to react to Scap Attack's top 15 scores list. I think Scap Attack did a response video to the top 15 scores by the Bleacher Report that we had talked about on the other live. And some of you guys were asking me in the comment section if I had seen his video on the top 15 scores, in my opinion, on that. So I thought that I would take a couple of minutes to talk about, or I guess maybe just say what my thoughts on that, because I did look at the video. I watched the entire video because some people were asking me to comment on this or react to what he had said. And again, man, I ain't got no beef with Scap, overall. You guys know where my stance is and my thing with Scap Attack. My problem is with the way his promotion of Nikola Jokic and how it contradicts, in my opinion, all of his Kobe stuff and his position with Kobe Bryant and, where Kobe Bryant, ranks all time and why he ranks there all time. In his opinion, the Nikola Jokic stuff, like I told you, in my opinion, he must have him ranked above Kobe Bryant now. Like I said, I would love to ask him where he would rank Nikola Jokic versus Kobe Bryant. But anyway, that's my only problem. So anyway, as far as the video goes in the top 15, I think it was a legit video. And I respect the names and the people that he brought up, because the interesting thing as I'm watching the video was that he put a lot of guys on the list, that obviously, the Bleacher Report guys that they didn't have on there, and the guys, some of the guys that he threw on the list, I would have added it to the list. So I give Scap props for his list. My only problem with that list, and I think it's a big problem. Maybe you guys don't think it's a big problem, but my only problem that I would say if I had a problem with the list, man, is he had James Harden above Steph Curry, guys. And I can't roll with that, man. Now, listen, I can't remember off the top of my head the numbers he had. He had Michael Jordan number 1. I think he had Kobe Bryant, I think 3rd. I think he had Will Chamberlain, I think 2nd. But he had a good list. It was a good list. But he had James Harden above Steph Curry. And I just don't see how. I'm confused with James Harden here. I'm confused with the James Harden, where people or how they view James Harden. I'm confused by this. I don't think James Harden is that great of a scorer. But, you had the guy, Daryl Morey, right? The general manager of the Rockets and the Sixers eventually, right? He called James Harden the greatest scorer of all time, greater than Michael Jordan, he said. And, you hear people always bring James Harden up in the greatest scorers of all time. And, these elite scorers and guys that can score and blah, blah, blah. The guys just, guys get buckets, man. James Harden get buckets. But I don't see it. I don't see it because when I watch James Harden play, I've watched James Harden games. I've seen James Harden. I've watched basketball. To me, his game is a gimmick. He's a gimmick game. To me, that's why I see it. James Harden scoring is a gimmick to me. That's why when it matters most, his scoring's not there. His scoring comes off of drawing the fouls, right? Creating fouls, right? Chucking up a bunch of threes. Like Steph Curry, with not the same effect or impact as Steph Curry, though. So, to me, there's no way I'm putting James Harden above Steph Curry. Now, if we think about this, to me, Steph Curry is obviously a better shooter than James Harden, right? They're both three-point shooters, aren't they? Obviously, Steph Curry's a great three-point shooter. Look at the volume of three-point shots that James Harden has taken. A lot of three-point shots. To me, Steph Curry's better at ball handling. People will talk about and celebrate James Harden's ball handling ability, but to me, Steph Curry's a superior ball handler. To me, Steph Curry's superior finishing at the rim. They're both not above the rim finishers. Yeah, we can give James Harden the edge as a dunker, okay? What are we saying there, though? But below the rim, all day, every day, to me, Steph Curry's a much better and a much more, once again, efficient finisher under the rim, man. So give me Steph Curry going to the rim over James Harden. What's James Harden's claim to fame going to the rim? Hooking guys' arms, throwing his head back, and creating fouls, getting to the free throw line. That's never been Steph Curry's game. In fact, if we look at Steph Curry versus James Harden scoring the ball, Steph Curry don't get near any of the calls close to James Harden in his career. So when I see the list, like I said, I respect Scap's list overall. I respect the list. It's a good list. But to me, how the hell are you putting James Harden? I don't have a problem with James Harden being on there. If you want to put James Harden in the top 15 all-time scorers list, no doubt about it. No doubt. To me, he'll be down around 15. He'll be down there towards the bottom of that list. If I'm putting him on the 15, he's at the bottom of the 15. That's me. That's what if he's on the list. All right? But to me, his scoring is gimmick. It's fraudulent scoring. All right? When he won the MVP, putting up all those numbers, that wasn't like what Kobe Bryant was doing or what Steph Curry does when he wins his scoring titles or some of the great scorers were doing when they're winning the titles, or Jerry West or an Elgin Baylor. That's not the game that they're playing out there. This flopping game, this ridiculous game where you're just chucking up shots all game long and you're kicking your leg out so you get these three-point shots, three free throw attempts. So I don't know. Maybe you guys, what do you guys think? Yo, shout out to you guys, man. Again, man, forgive me if I didn't shout you guys out down there. Somos Banditos, what up? I just can't, like I said, man, I can't put Steph Curry, James Harden above Steph Curry, man. There's just no way. I know a lot of you guys don't listen to Scap or watch some of Scap's videos. And yeah, obviously, when I'm listening to the video and you have James Harden above Steph Curry, and I think he had Steph Curry. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I want to say Steph Curry was somewhere around like maybe 8. Somewhere around there, 8 maybe, and James Harden was like maybe like 6 or 7. He was either a spot or 2 ahead of Steph Curry. All right, but all I know is he was above Steph Curry, and to me, that was the only one as I was listening to the video that made me cringe really badly when he had James Harden above Steph Curry, and he had James Harden above other guys. But the reason why to me the Steph Curry thing is more prevalent is because these guys play in the same era, right? They both play in the same era, and to me, when you watch the games, it's not close. But then what do we think about with Scap Attack? He always seems to have this thing with Steph Curry, it seems, where he's never been really a fan of Steph Curry. When we've done some of the live shows in the past, he's talked about Steph Curry in a negative way as far as his, all-NBA first selections or lack of all-NBA first selections and, how he doesn't really think Steph Curry is that great. So, I guess that might be part of why he had James Harden above Steph Curry or where he had Steph Curry ranked all time. And I'm not saying Steph Curry should be like a top 3 or the greatest scorer of all time or anything like that. I think he absolutely belongs on that list, and I think he absolutely belongs above James Harden. I don't think there's no world. Like I said, if I need a basket or I need buckets or I need someone to lead my team scoring the ball, I'm going to take Steph Curry over James Harden, man. And like I said, to me, he's better at the free throw line, right? And they're both excellent free throw shooters. Steph Curry is actually the greatest free throw shooter in NBA's history. And like I said, you talk about the three-point prowess, and then you talk about the attacking the rim. I told you, finishing at the rim. Steph Curry's ability to finish at the rim, I think, is underrated. When I've watched Steph Curry play, to me, his finishing ability is extremely underrated. People talk about Kyrie Irving, and rightfully so, because Kyrie Irving is fantastic with the English off the backboard. Well, so is Steph Curry, guys. Steph Curry's fantastic finishing over guys, under guys, around guys. Like I said, when we talk about drawing fouls, Steph Curry never got the foul calls of a James Harden. So the scoring of a James Harden, to me, is not comparable to someone like Steph Curry, all right? The James Harden scoring, I told you guys, to me, is fake. I think Steph Curry's scoring is real. It's impactful. And when Steph Curry needed to score, more so than James Harden, he did so. Was Steph Curry perfect in all these scenarios? No, but more so than James Harden was. So if you depended on Steph Curry scoring, you could more so than a James Harden. I think that's been proven over their careers. It's not even close. So like I told you, as far as the list and people asking my opinion on Scap Attack, says once again, I didn't even know about the list. People were asking me in this comment section. So once again, shout out to you guys again for asking my opinion on this. And that would be my only problem, or anything like I said that I would say that was crazy to me. But it was a good list. Once again, a shout out to all you guys for coming through. Mike Larry, what up? Bookie Allen, shout out to you, man. Like I'm saying, I'm going with Steph Curry over Harden. And to me, I don't even really think it's a question. And like I said, I'm not, a Steph Curry's fan like that. But I'm not putting, like I said, I'll put James Harden on the list, but I'm not going to have him over Curry. It's just not happening, man. Like I said, it just, to me, I don't know. So again, man, shout out to you guys. Now, what you guys say? Somebody asking what the list. Afro Abe, yeah, he had top 15 scores. He was reacting and doing his list based off of the Bleacher Report top 15 quote unquote purest scorers in NBA history, and he came out with his top 15 list. So. Something else that I wanted to touch on. Once again, shout out to my man NBA Sports News. I don't know if he's still up in here. And again, shout out to all you guys. You guys know the deal for coming through. My man Vern Lee Warren, what up to you, man? Bronny needs more help. Yo, Vern Lee Warren, I'm good, man. Chilling. I'm doing good, man. I hope everything's good with you. I hope you had a good week. I said I hope you guys are having a good Friday night. Yeah, you know the deal. Yo, shout out to you. You've been a Steph Curry fan since Davidson. Yeah, I remember him from back in Davidson. I remember when Steph Curry first came in, and people were worried about Steph Curry because the ankle problems, and they were worried about him, having some issues and maybe not being able to, be healthy and stay healthy. So shout out to him for coming through and working through those ankle issues early in his career. And like I said, man, turning the doubts around. Dana Green, what's going on? Hope you guys are having a good Friday night. Like I said, man, shout out to all you guys coming through on a Friday night. Like I said, it means a lot. You guys know we just getting started out here. Like I said, because the world works in mysterious ways, right? I'm telling you, man, sometimes things just work out. You guys know we touched on earlier. We're going to touch on some more. Luka Doncic is going down. But shout out to my man, NBA Sports News, because he had tagged me in a post a couple of days ago. Yeah, you know the deal, man. See, a lot of you guys know, man. We rolling with Steph on that one, right? I don't think it was close. Davion, what up? Thank you very much for you guys coming through, man. Yo, Chris McGill, what up? Shout out to you guys for coming through, man. Happy Friday. Hope you guys are having a good Friday night. I really appreciate, like I said, man, really humbled that you guys continue to come through. Troy Black, thank you very much on your Friday night. Newman, shout out to you. AP 530. Thank you very much. Yeah, so you still here. Yeah, so you had tagged me in that post, and it's crazy how sometimes in social media, things are going around the same circles, right? So a lot of us are reacting or responding. We see the same things maybe flash across our feed or wherever it is. I'm not on like TikTok. I'm on Instagram, but I'm not on Instagram. Like so sometimes people send me messages on Instagram. So once again, shout out to all you guys that send me messages on Instagram. And you guys will let me know, but I'm not on Instagram, actually going through it like that. And I'm only on YouTube. But a lot of times you'll see the same stuff floating around at the same time, whether it's an interview from years ago or a clip or something from years ago, whatever the case may be. So what was funny was that what was floating around and what I saw was an interview, right? And I think a lot of us, or maybe some of us had seen it, maybe some of you guys did not see it, was an interview with Dr. J, Magic Johnson and Larry Bird, right? This was during the Chicago Bulls 1996 season, right? When the Bulls had won 70 games. And, they were talking about this. I believe this was during the NBA Finals. And they were talking to these guys. And, Dr. J was in the studio. And they had Magic Johnson and Larry Bird there, via satellite. Back in the day, you were via satellite back in the day. Remember, they'd be like, can you hear us? Guys, can you hear us? Are you there? And they'd be having to wait. There'd be like a delay. You guys remember back in the day, right? So they had all these guys out there, wherever they were. I think Magic was in LA and Larry Bird was over there in French Lick, Indiana. And, they were talking about the Chicago Bulls. And they were talking about the 96 Bulls versus their teams, right? They were talking about the 96 Bulls versus the 86 Celtics. They were talking about a matchup against the 87 Lakers and a potential matchup against the 83 Sixers. Each one of the teams represented by the great player that was there, right? Dr. J representing the 83 Sixers, Magic Johnson representing the 87 Lakers, and Larry Bird representing the 86 Celtics. And they talked about, shout out to my man Mick Zuggins, a.k.a. PMR Hoops, or PMR Hoops, a.k.a. Mick Zuggins. Shout out to you for coming through. And they were talking about a potential matchup between the 96 Chicago Bulls and those teams. Like I said, the 83 Sixers, the 87 Lakers, and the 86 Celtics. And I know I had posted a clip, a short video of Larry Bird in this interview, right? During this little, clip that they had. They were talking to these guys about these matchups and, some of the other things, about the Chicago Bulls. And, Larry Bird, mentioning, that it was, made a joke about it. It was nice, to be, compared to Michael Jordan in that regard. And, each one of them made their case for why their team, would have success against the 96 Bulls and ultimately would be able to beat the Chicago Bulls in a 7-game series. And what they talked about, each one of them talked about the exact same thing. And they talked about how the big men, the front line of their teams, would be too much for the Chicago Bulls. Magic Johnson talked about Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and how there would be no one to stop Kareem Abdul-Jabbar for the Chicago Bulls. So Kareem Abdul-Jabbar would ultimately win it for them in a 7 or in even 6 games, he said, perhaps. Dr. J talked about Moses Malone, and he went and said Moses Malone is going to be the problem. No one's going to be able to stop Moses Malone, and he's going to be the X factor for us, and that's ultimately going to be why we would beat the Chicago Bulls in a 7-game series. And Larry Bird talked about how the front line of himself, Kevin McHale, and Robert Parrish would ultimately be a problem for Chicago Bulls, and, their down low presence. And saying that ultimately that would probably be the determining factor, in a 7-game series with the 96 Chicago Bulls and their teams. And I thought that was very interesting that they all used the same angle, right? They all used that same, kind of reference. They went to the down low presence, their legendary big men, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Moses Malone. You could argue these guys are the greatest centers of all time. When you talk about someone like Moses Malone is arguably the greatest rebound in the history of the game, and his impact on the offensive glass and what he could do. We all know Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's scoring prowess, right? And the toughness and the tenacity of a Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, the defensive ability, the shot blocking prowess of a Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. So when you think about, him being able to use the sky hook in clutch time scenarios, this is what Magic Johnson was talking about. And I think all three of those guys are 100% on the money. Absolutely. Those are going to be huge issues for the Chicago Bulls in a 7-game series versus those teams. Those teams are arguably, right, greatest teams of all time. Teams. The 83 Sixers, you can argue the greatest team of all time. The 86 Celtics, people will debate, or you can argue the greatest team of all time. And the 87 Lakers, once again, the same thing can be said, for what they could do on the basketball court with the talent that they had. So these teams are not some regular everyday team or some ordinary teams. Like I said, these are teams that you can argue the greatest teams in NBA's history. And when you think about the personnel that they had, but not only the personnel that they had, but how they utilize the personnel. And that's what they were talking about. They don't have big guys on the court, right? Like, those guys play big. They utilize the big men. Magic Johnson's going to go to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar when it counts, right? They're going to use Kareem Abdul-Jabbar the way that Kareem Abdul-Jabbar needs to be utilized. That's why Magic Johnson is so great, because he makes everyone else's job easier. He didn't make it harder for Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. There was no adjustments needed for Kareem Abdul. The only thing that Kareem Abdul-Jabbar needed to adjust with Magic Johnson, I talked about this before, was his personality, was the charisma, the energy of Magic Johnson. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was uncomfortable with that at first. Magic Johnson talked about a lot of that stuff. Other than that, man, this is what you had to do, and that's what they were going to do, right? Kevin McHale was going to be utilized down there in the post. He was going to be a problem down there. Robert Parrish was going to be there, right? He just steady, Robert Parrish. He's just there. Like I said, he was never not there. He was always there. And we all know Larry Bird. Again, so we talk about Dr. J, Moses Malone, or Bobby Jones, right? Some of these guys that are going to be down there, for a Sixers organization team. But not only those guys, to me, when you think about, Maurice Cheeks and, like I said, what he brings to the table, is it their overall team? They were a fantastic team. We have to talk about, the Boston Strangler out there, right? Because he's going to be a problem out there also on the defensive end. So, when we're talking about a lot of these guys and what they're doing and how they played the game, how they utilize these guys, those are going to be difficult matchups for a 96 Chicago Bulls team. Now, the one thing I will say is this. When they're talking about Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, or they're talking about maybe the perceived weaknesses of the 96 Chicago Bulls, what were the perceived weaknesses of the Bulls? What they mentioned, right? The inside presence of Luke Longley, right? Oh, Luke Longley's not a big name, so who's Luke Longley, right? Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is going to kill him, right? He's going to kill him down low. But you're not just going against Luke Longley. It's not just Luke Longley, right? And the Bulls, to me, when you think about their overall defense, right? And you think about what they're doing, and you think about, like I said, what the impact is on the court. What the Bulls were great at in that second three-peat, right, is that they had a bunch of guys on the basketball court that could play great defense, but also had a great IQ on the defensive end. That's rare, man. Like I said, when you think about Dennis Rodman, right, he was a defensive savant. He was like a mad scientist. He was like a Dr. Frankenstein on the basketball court. So when you have someone like a Dennis Rodman on the court, Scottie Pippen, to me, like I said, a very excellent defensive player, tenacious on the defensive end, right? Played in a great synergy with a Michael Jordan. But we have to also remember Ron Harper, and Ron Harper's size, his length, and his ability on the basketball court on the defensive end, but his IQ also. Ron Harper played very smart in the second three-peat, right? He sacrificed numbers, right? Doing other things on the offensive end, right? To be and have an impact on an overall great team, a dynasty, right? So when you talk about four players on the defensive end that are 6'6", 6'7", right? That are long, athletic, that can do different things, that can help out on defense with a Luke Longley. Dennis Rodman himself, and that second three-peat can guard Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. He's guarding Shaquille O'Neal. Are we going to forget the matchups that the Bulls had during their second three-peat? They didn't go against Patrick Ewing. They didn't go against Alonzo Mourning. They didn't go against front lines. They didn't go against Shaq. So they went against some big men. They went against some front lines. No, I'm not going to sit here and argue that those teams were the 83 Sixers with Moses Malone and, like I said, Dr. J and Bobby Jones and all the guys I just mentioned, man. Absolutely not. No one's saying that. No one's saying that the 86 Celtics. No one said they went against the 87 Lakers. But they went against comparable competition at the center position. They went against legit Hall of Famers, legit all-time greats, big men. So when you talk about what the Bulls could do defensively, and then you're talking about Michael Jordan and what he does on the court, this is why it would always be a series. This is why the Bulls are always in it, because of Michael Jordan alone. When you think about the 86 Celtics, for example, and you think about the 86 Bulls, think about the 86 Bulls, guys. They were competitive to a degree in those games. Yeah, they got beat down in some of these games, right? The three series, it was a double-digit loss. But I told you guys, in game 2, when Michael Jordan scored the 63, the Bulls should have had an opportunity to win the game at the free throw line at the end of the game. Remember, Michael Jordan was fouled shooting a 3, right? He was fouled shooting a 3 with the Bulls down by 2, with zeros on the clock. but he only got 2 free throws. So he made both and tied the game and sent to overtime. If he would have got 3 free throws like he would have gotten now, or since they made that rule change, right, some years later, he would have been awarded 3 free throws and would have had an opportunity to win the game at the free throw line. So the 86 Celtics could have perhaps been beaten and should have had an opportunity to lose to the 86 Bulls. The 86 Bulls. So Michael Jordan is that competitive with an 86 Bulls team. You put Michael Jordan again, right? And we're talking about the 86 Celtics and a 96 Bulls. And Michael Jordan, is Michael Jordan still? There's no fall off from Michael Jordan from 86. He's better than he was in 86 and 96. In the reckoning season, remember, it wasn't the revenge season. It was the reckoning season that we saw Michael Jordan on. So to me, these are going to be competitive series. I'm not going to say the Bulls would beat any one of these teams. And I'm not going to say and sit there and say that what they said, Larry Bird or Dr. J or, Magic Johnson, their assessment of how the series would play out, they're on the money. That's how they feel, and they should feel that way. And they have a right to feel that way because that's the only thing that you can point to or the only perceived weakness of the Chicago Bulls. And to me, again, when you think about the teams that they went against and the players that they went against down low, they showed and proved that there was a down low presence for the Chicago Bulls, and their defense was ultimately going to be suffocating enough. And you have Michael Jordan at the end of these games to finish you off. To me, and of all those teams that we mentioned, even Larry Bird, to me, Michael Jordan is going to be the best player on the court and the most clutch player on the court when it mattered most. Is Larry Bird going to make plays in some of these games? And Magic Johnson, and Dr. J or Moses Malone or Kareem Abdul-Jabbar? Absolutely, these are all-time greats. I'm not saying the Bulls would sweep them or a guaranteed win, like I told you. I'm not saying the Bulls would definitely win these series, but they kind of dismissed the Bulls to a degree. And like I said, when you think about what they're trying to use as a quote-unquote weakness of the Bulls in these series, I don't think it was as much a weakness as people think it was. Luke Longley himself was no slouch as far as him being a big body. He was just a big dude, man. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't like 6'10". He wasn't like 6'11 and a half. Maybe he was 7 feet tall. No, the dude, like Luke Longley was like 7'2". Like, what? Dude was like a huge dude. He was just a big body, man. So he was just going to be there, clogging up the lane, standing there. He was going to be there. Once again, that allows other guys to come over. And like I said, who's stopping Michael Jordan, man? That's the only thing that we talk about. But like I said, these are some of the things that we talk about. And when you think about some of the teams, like I said, that the Bulls went against, it shows and proves, like I said, that, going against great, centers per se would not be necessarily an issue or a problem for a Chicago Bulls team. Like I said, to me, if it came down at the end of games, give me Michael Jordan, these scenarios, right? Are the Bulls going to get blown out in these games? If these games are close, the Bulls are down by 3, with a couple minutes to go, who's making the plays here? Yeah, Larry Bird going to make some plays. Michael Jordan could make plays on both sides more so than Larry Bird could, right? Larry Bird had that great steal against the Detroit Pistons. No doubt about it, man. Michael Jordan had a 3-play sequence in the finals that Larry Bird could never do. Never do. So, again, when we talk about what these guys are going to do in these scenarios, if it came down to end of games, Michael Jordan's going to be the guy because he always was the guy who raised his level to play. Remember, the 83 Sixers didn't repeat. Did they win before or after? Did the 86 Celtics repeat? Right? The 87 Lakers repeated. How? People talk about a phantom call against Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Bill Laimbeer, right? So again, the Bulls three-peated. That's Michael Jordan, guys. That's what that is. You guys know the deal, man. These are the facts out here. Yeah, shout out to you guys. I know some of you guys say the Bulls would lose. Yeah, the Bulls might lose. They might lose. Like I said, I would never just say that, oh, yeah, don't crush them teams. Those are legit all-time teams, man. Like I said, with all-time great players, guys I didn't even mention. Like I said, so, I talked about Andrew Toney, right? I mentioned the Boston Strangler, Andrew Toney. Michael Jordan competed against a lot of these guys when he first came in the league, right? No, he didn't go against the 83 Sixers, but, he competed against Andrew Toney when he was a rookie. He competed against, Dr. J, Moses Malone, right? And the Kareem Abdul-Jabbars. He competed against the 87 Lakers, during the regular season. Michael Jordan was going to be a problem out there, guys. He was going to be a problem. I'm telling you right. You give Michael Jordan any comparable competition and you put him in a final scenario against any one of them teams, it's going to be a problem. I'm telling you, because Michael Jordan always showed and proved he was going to raise the level of play. So like I said, when you talk about, like I said, Orlando Magic in 96 with Shaq and Penny, is that not like a young version of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Magic Johnson? I think it is, man. So again, you talk about they swept them dudes. All right, again, I'm not saying that the 96 Magic or the 87 Lakers. Absolutely not. We're not stupid here. But again, you talk about some of the teams that the Bulls win against. They also win against the New York Knicks. Like I said, they win against other teams, man. The Miami Heat in the first round of 96 with Alonzo Mourning. So again, they win against Hall of Fame caliber centers. They win against legit big men. They win against legit teams. I told you, the Bulls in the 90s, right? They beat more 60-win teams than any other team in NBA's history and route these championships. Think about the 60-win teams. They beat the Suns in the finals that won 60 games. So you're beating multiple 60-win teams. How many 60-win teams did the Celtics have to beat en route to their championship in 86? Or 87 for the Lakers? Or 83 for the Sixers, man? It wasn't the same. I'm not saying that competition was weaker or the Bulls' competition was better, but the Bulls went through legit competition. They beat legit guys. Like I said, legit teams with legit big men. That's what it was. So again, you can't just say, Kareem would be the X factor because they don't have nobody to stop him. Who's stopping Michael Jordan? Michael Cooper's not stopping Jordan. No, you could put Michael Cooper on him. You could double team. He's not stopping him. And then no one's stopping Kareem. He's freaking Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Okay, man. Dennis Rodman's going to give him problems. You guys are going to have problems. Magic Johnson's going to have problems going against Michael Jordan all day. Like I said, what's Michael Cooper doing going against Pippen or going against Jordan on the offensive end? These guys ain't scoring no points. Byron Scott, Worthy's, it's going to be a matchup, man. Worthy's going to cook Pippen some plays. Some plays Pippen's going to block Worthy, right? Some plays Jordan's going to get cooked by Magic. Some plays Magic Johnson's going to get his butt get picked by Jordan, right? So again, man, these are the facts out here. To me, the best team or the team that I think would be the most of a problem for the Bulls would be the 83 Sixers. I think the 83 Sixers would probably be a team that would probably really manhandle the Bulls or give the Bulls a problem, man. Because they had dudes like Bobby Jones and Maurice Cheeks. And like I said, man, Tony, like I said, man, Andrew Toney, these Moses Maloney's guys are defensive-minded dudes, man. So you're talking about defensive guys of the Bulls? Well, I told you the Sixers had 3 all-team defensive first guys. Maurice Cheeks, like I said, we talk about Bobby Jones and Moses Malone. All those guys were defensive first team. And Andrew Toney was no joke on the defensive end. So to me, of all those teams, I think the Sixers are the problem. They're the problem. Like I said, they're deep as hell, man. Like I said, they just got some dudes on that team, man. And I'm not saying the 86 Celtics weren't great. They were the number 1 defensive team. The 86 Celtics, obviously an excellent defensive team. But to me, the Sixers were the best team, I think, of those 3. It might be the Sixers, man. And talk about what they could bring on the, and then talk about what Moses Malone's bring on the boards, man. It's crazy right there. 83, come on, man. Because 87 Kareem is not really peak Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. This is peak Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. No, it's not, man. But 83 Moses, that's MVP. That's MVP Moses Malone, man. Like I said, Bobby Jones is going to be a problem. This dude is always a problem because guys like Bobby Jones, man, is like, those are the guys that when he's not on your team, you can't stand these guys, right? They're like a gnat buzzing around all the time. Right, the guys that are always just hustling, diving on the floor everywhere, right, just making the game crazy. Like I said, you have guys like Andrew Toney, right? Like his nickname was the Boston Strangler. Like they didn't want to see this dude. Like they didn't want to see him, man. Like when you nicknamed the Boston Strangler, in that era at that time, then you cold. You are cold, man. All right. So again, man, once again, we're debating the greatest teams of all time against each other. So again, to me, there's no wrong answer. Because like I said, man, when you talk about guys like Larry Bird and like I said, the Kevin McHale's and the Dennis Johnsons that are on those teams, you have a Bill Walton coming off the bench, doing what he does. And, we talked about, the Lakers team. Obviously, like I said, this stuff is great to debate. But I think the Bulls could hold their own down low more so than people want to give them credit to. Dennis Rodman is going to be a problem down there. Scottie Pippen's a very good rebounder, man. Like you're just not going to – the Bulls were an excellent rebounding team. They were going to battle down low. All right? They're battling down low, man. All right? They're going to be battling for rebounds. All right, you're not going to be pushovers. What I'm saying, like I said, when you talk about what they can do on the perimeter or on defensively, I mean, it's going to be, to me, they're going to have probably the best perimeter defense. Who's going to have better perimeter defense than the Bulls or those three teams? I don't see who has the best perimeter defense. It's the Bulls to me, with Pippen, Jordan, and Harper. And Rodman, like I said, Rodman is Rodman, man. He said you never know. Rodman could be ejected in the first minute of the game, or he could be the guy that gets someone else ejected in the first minute of the game. So you never know what Dennis Rodman, what he could bring. He's a wild card, more so than anybody on the court during that time on those teams is going to be Dennis Rodman. Dennis Rodman in the late 90s, this dude was on another. That wasn't Dennis Rodman on the Pistons, y'all. Dennis Rodman on the Pistons was a lot more reserved on the basketball court. Dennis Rodman, the second three-peat, that dude was a grenade. Like, Dennis Rodman was like when you playing, like, with the grenades and you pull the pin out, man, and you let go of it and you stumble and you bump. No, that's Dennis Rodman out there on the basketball court, man. So you never know what could happen. Like I said, the Bulls are an excellent passing team. Like I said, there's a great team. There's a great team. So it would be a great matchup to see them against some of the other all-time great teams. That to me, those are great conversations, man. Oh, man. So, again, man. Oh, man. Damn, man. My bad, guys. Sent me supers. Yo, shout out to my man, the Real Cypress. I'm sorry, man. If I missed you guys supers. You guys sent like 30 minutes ago. Forgive me, man. Harden is one of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. Yes, I saw your 4 horsemen apocalypse post. With your Joel Embiid on there, LeBron James, James Harden, and somebody else on there. Can't remember who else on there. He has helped ruin this league. He wouldn't score in the 80s and 90s. So he isn't great, period. No, you're right. That whole style of play from James Harden, as I told you, I would never put him above Steph Curry. So again, man, shout out to the Real Siberius, man. You're right on the money. Shout out to my man, Quadrish. Oh man, I probably jacked your name all up, man. Quadrish Shamseen. I messed. Damn, man. Listen, man, forgive me, man. I'll be bad at reading some of these names, but shout out to you for coming through. Salute, Soldier. Love that beatdown last night. I guess LeBron has a selective cape. Yeah, he didn't activate playoff mode, I guess, man. Tell LeBron James to activate playoff mode. Shout out to my man, Hamza Dean, for coming through. I really appreciate it, man. It means a lot. Man, LeBron needs to go back up in the booth, do something, start knitting that cape up, man. Knit that joint, because he ain't got one. Remember, in the cloth that LeBron James is cut from, that cape, the cloth that cape is made from, it ain't the same cloth that some of the other guys that go in there and put that cape on. LeBron James, his cape ain't, he go out there and try to, it just disintegrates, you know what I'm saying? He like Daffy Duck out there in some of them cartoons, man. Oh, man, shout out to you for coming through, man. I appreciate it. My goodness gracious. Shout out to Illinois Gaming, 4204 for coming through with the super. Much love and respect. Keep going. Your integrity is the strength everyone fears but have to respect. From Chi-Town to New York, much love and respect. Yo, shout out to everybody in Chi-Town, man. There's mad people out from Chicago representing. So I appreciate you guys always coming through. Like I said, it means a lot, man. A lot of people out there from Chi-Town. One of my, it was crazy. One of my friends from the military that was on my ship with me. Shout out to my man T. Lewis. Hope you're doing good wherever you are out there, man. He was from Chi-Town, man. He was one of my best friends when I was on the ship in the military, man. We used to go a lot of places on my second deployment. We used to go a lot of places out there in some of these countries. Shout out to my man T. Lewis from Chi-Town, man. One of my boys, man, from back in the day, man. Man. Like I said, shout out to you guys for coming through. So, listen, guys. I think we all need to have a good laugh. And I think we all need, today is a day to celebrate and laugh at LeBron James. It really is, guys. It really is, man. People can say that we're hating right now. We're being haters. But nah, man, we ain't being haters. We're not. Today's the day to laugh at LeBron James. It really is, man. All right? Because that performance last night, like I said, they lost the game. It's bad enough, right? They got beat down. Yeah, shout out to you guys, man. You guys are throwing out some great teams out there. The 72 Lakers. Listen, there's so many great teams. Shout out to the user YN for coming through. I think I saw somebody throw out the Wilts Sixers. The Knicks, to me, the Knicks would be a problem. The 73 Knicks would be an issue because we talk about the tenacity. Once again, you talk about the front line. You talk about, like I said, someone like Willis Reed or Dave DeBusch or Bill Bradley. You talk about Earl the Pearl Monroe is going to be a problem. And we all know my man Walt Frazier. Like I said, Jerry Lucas. The Knicks are going to be an issue. There's a lot of great teams that we talked about. Any one of those teams that you would have in maybe a top 5 or a top 10 all-time conversation, all those teams to me are going to present issues for other teams. I told you, the one thing to me that can't be denied, And I tell you guys this, and I'm not being this because, oh, you're just a Michael Jordan guy. To me, Michael Jordan's going to be the most clutch time performer against any team. Not saying that his team would win in any scenario, right? Because I don't believe that's to be true. But I'm telling you, if it came down to a late game scenario where it was like a close game, if the Bulls are down by 7, 8, a couple of seconds to go, then yeah, I don't believe that they're going to win the game. But what I'm saying is if there's some of these games that are in the 7-game series they're playing, it came down to some of these closing moments or a clutch time play or a clutch time shot, not just maybe making a shot, but a clutch time play overall, right? To me, Michael Jordan's going to be the guy more so than anybody else that I've seen or I've not seen or I've heard of in NBA's history. He's come through more often than anybody has. So like I said, even against a Bill Russell, or any of these other great winners that played on great teams, the Russell teams, like I said, it's going to be competitive, man, because Michael Jordan, to me, is going to be the clutch time performer always in these scenarios, man, more so than anybody. And there's been some great clutch time performers, like we said, Larry Bird and obviously Magic Johnson. We talked about guys, like Jerry West in the clutch time play and what they known for doing. Bill Russell is a clutch time performer, but I'm going Michael Jordan, guys. You know what I'm saying? I gotta bet. If I'm betting on the game, right? Any team versus Michael Jordan, I'm betting on Michael Jordan, guys. I don't give a damn what team it is. I don't care. I don't give a damn what team he's rolling with. Give me Michael Jordan, man. I'm going with Michael. I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn. And you know what? Because the man ain't never lost. He ain't never lost, man. The dude ain't never lost, man. And like I said, there were many scenarios where the Bulls should have lost, where the Bulls could have lost. And Michael Jordan, I told you, raised up. He raised it up. I told you, man, there were dudes balling. They was balling, man, and then they was looking at Jordan like, damn, man, I told you, Jordan he outmaneuvered his own opponent. He beat them at their own game. I told you guys this. This is what he did he beat his opponents at their own. He out-magicked Magic in 91. Out-magicked them. The man was dropping dimes, averaging 11 assists and 30 points. You out-magicked Magic. Magic didn't do that. You think Magic gonna average 30 and drop 11 in a winning scenario in a finals and guard the other team's great play on the perimeter? No, Jordan did that. So he out-magicked Magic in 91, and then what did he do in 92? He out-Drexler. Oh, what are you talking about, Robin? What do you mean, what am I talking about? You know what I'm talking about. Coming into the series, what are you talking about? Hey, man, Clyde Drexler might be better than Jordan. Why? Oh, because Clyde Drexler can shoot the three. That might make him better than Jordan. Jordan can't shoot the three. So Jordan was like, listen, man, the three-point ain't part of my game. But what did he come out and do in game one? He came out and was like, listen, man, what do you want from me? I'm Michael Jordan. I can make it rain out here. That's what he said. I can make it rain on the court, man. What do you want me to do? I leveled up. I don't know. Magic, what are you going to do? What's Magic going to do? Even Magic was like, yo, man, that's what he did him with. So he out-Drexler in 92. He hit the most three-pointers in the series, more than anybody on both teams. That's what Michael Jordan did. All right? And then what happened in 1993? He out-offensed the number one offense single-handedly. The Chicago Bulls and the Phoenix Suns both scored 640 points in the finals. That's very rare for both teams to score the exact same amount of points. And the man averaged 41 to beat that team. If he averages 31, if he averages 21, if he averages 28, if he averages 37, they lose the series, guys. He has to average 41, and he did it. No one else ain't doing this stuff. But this is what he's doing to take his team to the next level, man. In 96, he outgritted the Seattle Supersonics. Ron Harper goes down with the ankle injury, right? Who comes in and guards Gary Payne and steps up? Michael Jordan does that. So Michael Jordan comes in. What happens during the series in 96, right? He's got his father on his heart. Everyone says the Bulls are going to sweep the Sonics. They start drinking the Kool-Aid. What happens in the series? All of a sudden, the Bulls can't make a shot. Everyone's shooting bricks. Scottie Pippen's shooting like 27% in the series. The Bulls are shooting like 37% as a team. Everyone's breaking up shots. All of a sudden, it comes out to a slugfest. So what's Michael Jordan do? He decides to out-strategy these guys, attack the rim, and create opportunities not only for himself, but when Michael Jordan's attacking the rim in the 96 finals, and everyone's talking about Dennis Rodman's offensive rebounds, what did I tell you guys? Dennis Rodman is special. He was special in the finals. But a lot of the rebounds that Dennis Rodman was able to get, the reason why he was in position to get the offensive glass is because if you know basketball and if you saw those games, what did you see? Michael Jordan attacking the paint, attacking the Sonics defense, guys converging, leaving Rodman open on the backside. So again, Dennis Rodman is a genius. He knows what he's doing. So you're understanding the game. That's what makes Dennis Rodman so great. But that's also Michael Jordan knowing and understanding these guys ain't making a damn shot. And then in 97 and 98, what did they do, the Bulls? They out-executed the Utah Jazz. And that's all the Utah Jazz did was execute. They were known for their execution. Jerry Sloan, John Stockton, Karl Malone, the pick and roll, execute, right? Play tough, play physical, play hard, keep the game gritty, keep the game ugly, and you execute. And the Bulls out-executed them. 97, flu game, 2 games apiece. Scottie Pippen holding them off the court. Dude not feeling good. Cash in threes. They were losing that game. They said they wasn't supposed to win that game. Jordan was walking in, and Bill Walton was like, it ain't looking good for the Bulls. I tell you right now, Marv, it ain't looking good for the Bulls. They got to come in here and try to win another game in Utah. Remember, they had lost the previous 2 in a row. 2 in a row. It was a 2-3-2 format. And they're like, they can't beat Utah in Utah. It was mad loud in there. You couldn't hear nothing in Utah. They had a legit home court advantage. And what happened at the end of that finals? When he had the flu game, won game 5, they won in 6 games. What did he do in the post game when that Finals MVP award was time? He brought Scottie Pippen out there, man. He brought Scottie Pippen out there. He didn't say, yeah, man, I had the flu game. I carried these bums. If it wasn't for me, we would have lost. He didn't do none of that nonsense. He didn't say, I want my respect. Y'all better give me my respect, damn it. I want some respect out here. I played with the flu. It might have been a stomach bug. I might have been hungover. But damn, I was out there playing. I want my respect, damn it. Y'all better show me something out here. I'm better than Bird. I'm better than Magic. Who the hell's Kareem? Wilt Chamberlain. Never heard of the guy. Bill Russell's a bum. He played against white guys that were short. I'm Michael Jordan, damn it. I want it. I'm dropping the mic. Come on, man. That's what these bums do now. Everyone's celebrating themselves. Everyone's jumping up. Come on, man. These are the facts, guys. Absolute facts out here. All right? Absolute nothing but the facts I just gave you guys. Remember the facts, man. Absolute facts. Sometimes, we talk about this LeBron James, Michael Jordan stuff. And, we often talk about the championships, the finals, right? We talk about a lot of these matchups because the LeBron James fans have made it all about this weird stuff about the competition that he faced in the finals. That's why, right, he, has lost so much. But the thing about it is, it does a disservice to what we always try to bring up. And we talk about the road to the finals, right? Like how the Bulls get to the finals in them years, how'd they get there, right? So they want you to believe the Bulls didn't play anyone in the finals. But really the story is how the Bulls even get to the finals, let alone who they play in the finals. We know who they played in the finals was going to be battle tested. They were going to be tested. But who the Bulls playing in order to get to these finals, right? They were playing a lot of tough teams, man. A lot of great players, right? They were playing against a lot of great coaches, right? I mean, they went against some great legit teams. I mean, if you think about the first championship the Bulls won, they had to beat a back-to-back champion in the Eastern Conference Finals just to get to the championship. So when you're talking about being battle-tested, not only did you battle against a back-to-back champion for your first championship just to get to the finals that happened to be your arch rival, the nemesis, a team you couldn't beat. That's who you had to beat just to get to the first finals. You had to beat that team, man. And then when you got to the first finals, you had to battle against and play against one of the game's greatest players against proven winners. Proven winners, Magic Johnson, James Worthy, Byron Scott. These guys were proven winners. AC Green, proven winners who had been there and done that. You want to go in and get some guys in their first NBA finals also, which is why the Bulls were not the favorite going into that finals. That was the reason why. They had no experience. I told you the Bulls were the first team in NBA history to win an NBA Finals without having anyone on the team had been in the finals before. No one had been to the finals before. Not one of them fools. Right? So what'd you see in the first game? Go watch the first game. And go watch all them dudes. Go watch Scottie Pippen in the first game, 91. Where the hell was that dude? Where was Horace Grant? Where was Bill Cartwright? Where was all them dudes? You know all them dudes at? They was out there watching Michael Jordan. That's what they was doing, man. The hell out of here. Talking about LeBron James and close to Michael Jordan is nonsense. The hell out of here with this crap, man. Not even close. So again, like we said, guys, once again, shout out to all you guys on a Friday night. I know I'm rambling on here. Forgive me if you said the super. Shout out to Jesse Glassaget. Jordan had 3-4 more total assists than Magic. Yeah, that's right. Going into Game 5 of the 91 Finals, Magic had to get like 20 assists in Game 5 just to average more. You're absolutely right. And I want people to understand, Magic Johnson was sensational in the finals to me. He was absolutely sensational as far as, what he was doing against Michael Jordan and the Scottie Pippen defensive, pressure that they were applying. I mean, Magic Johnson was going against two of the game's elite perimeter defenders, right, simultaneously at different times at their peaks. These guys were at their best, and they were putting everything on Magic Johnson, everything. And this man was still coming out and still cooking these dudes and periodically in that series. Magic Johnson was sensational. But remember, man, I always tell people, when the LeBron James fans try to clown Michael Jordan for getting cooked by Magic Johnson, or, hey, they had to bring the Pippen on them, I laugh at this stuff. And I was like, yeah, it's Magic Johnson. So I don't want to hear about, Michael Jordan getting cooked by Magic Johnson. But we always say, Magic Johnson wasn't going to guard Michael Jordan on the other end, was he? No, he would never do these kinds of things. It wasn't ever going to go down like that. So again, when you talk about what it was really going to be like, Magic Johnson wasn't going to try to lock up Michael Jordan in the NBA Finals in 1991, like Michael Jordan was going to attempt to do to Magic Johnson. So when you talk about the assists, I told you guys, he out-Magic in that Finals, guys. I mean, like I told you, when you look at the overall game that he played in that first Finals, like I said, he sacrificed. Remember when they talked about Paxson in Game 5? And they talked about how, Phil Jackson, told him in a timeout. He was like, yo, who's open? And he was like, yo, Paxson's open. He's like, yo, pass him the freaking ball then, dude. He's like, all right, man. So did Michael Jordan get upset? Did Michael Jordan do the Scottie Pippen in 1991 when Phil Jackson called him out and was like, yo, who's open out there, man? And he was like, yo, Paxson's open. He's like, I don't know who's passing the ball, man. So did he be like, oh, man, why I got to pass the ball? Yo, Phil, you being a racist. Why I got to pass to the white man? Why I got to pass to the white dude for? I don't got to pass to Paxson. Who the hell's Paxson? I ain't passing to Paxson. No, he didn't say that. He's like, oh, yeah, you right. You right. He's like, oh, my bad. You right. You right. I'm a pass the ball to him. So what did he do there? He sacrificed not only his numbers or anything like that, but he sacrificed his ego, man. And once again, he sacrificed his own personal feelings for the betterment of the team in that moment. Right? He didn't cost the Bulls a win or an opportunity to clinch the series in that moment by being a baby and pounding about and be like, yo, I want to be the guy to carry us to the Game 5. If you think about Game 5, so much so, who was the leading scorer for the Chicago Bulls in Game 5 of the 91 Finals, guys? It wasn't Michael Jordan. Scottie Pippen. It was Scottie Pippen. Scottie Pippen had 30 points. I think 31 points or something like that. Whatever, he had 30 points. In the Game 5, the clincher, in 91, Scottie Pippen, the leading scorer for the Bulls. So again, Michael Jordan wasn't concerned about leading the team in scoring for the win. Yeah, I want to be the guy who led the team in scoring in the fifth and final game when we won the championship. I'm not passing the ball to anybody. The hell out of here, man. Trying to win a championship. But Michael Jordan was dropping dimes for all these guys out there. He was getting everybody involved. That was, to me, that 91 Finals, I mean, I could watch that. Michael Jordan was my goodness, man. My goodness. In 1991 Finals, Michael Jordan, he was disgusting out there. It was ridiculous what he was doing out there on both sides of the ball, not just scoring. I mean, I told you, the man was hitting, the passes that he was making, it wasn't necessarily, Magic Johnson level passes, but they were so crisp. And the passes he was hitting people, he was throwing like these 100-mile-an-hour whip passes on dudes. They're hitting dudes like, if you ain't catch the ball, you're going to have a broken nose. You know what I'm saying? All up in your face. Goodness gracious, right? Bang. made me think about a time when I ran to one of those revolving doors in Malta when I was in the military, man. We went to this country in Malta, and I ran to one of those revolving doors, man. Oh my goodness gracious! I mean, it's a funny story, man. But I ran so hard into one of those things, man. It was crazy. Oh my goodness gracious, man. I don't want to talk going down the road on one of them crazy stories, man, because that story is it's ridiculous, man. So anyway, I know I'm rambling on again, man, but yo, so last night, guys, when we talk about the Lakers, and now we're hearing about Luka Doncic now. We have to talk about this a little bit. And like I said, the game last night and what we're seeing from Lakers and what we've seen all season, right? I told you guys all year, the Lakers are not contenders, but I told you why they're not contenders, right? It's not just because of LeBron James, even though I told you they're not going to win anything with LeBron James playing 33 minutes a night, right? Taking all these shots he's taking. You're not going to win a championship with this version of LeBron James playing all these minutes, doing what he's doing out the court. He's just too much dead weight. You're just not going to be able to overcome this against a playoff team, against a legit team, or against a legit contender. So I told you, it's because of other things, right? On top of the LeBron James thing. And what you saw last night is part of the problem. I told you, we all know the Lakers are now one of the good defensive teams. Guys, they're not even one of the top 10, one of the top 15 teams. They're a bad defensive team. So we know they're not one of the top defensive teams. Okay, what else could you hang your hat on? Are they one of the top rebounding teams? No, they're not one of the top rebounding teams either. And rebounding and defense go hand in hand. But also, rebounding is very important when you're trying to win a championship. Very important in the playoffs. You're talking about possessions, right? And you're talking about, once again, closing out possessions with rebounds. The Lakers are one of the worst rebounding teams. They've been one of the worst rebounding teams all year long. All year long. Because why? Who's the Lakers' best rebounder? Who? Who's the Lakers' best rebounder? Jackson Hayes? DeAndre Ayton? LeBron James? Luka Doncic? Jared Vanderbilt? LeBron James Jr.? Jake LaRavia? Dalton Connect? Luke Kennard? Rui Hashimura? Are any of these guys' names, like when I'm saying these names to you, Austin Reeves, like, does anyone sound like a rebounder to you? Are you thinking about rebounding? Guys, I haven't mentioned one rebounder, all those names I mentioned. It might be Luka Doncic might be your best rebounder. It should be LeBron James or DeAndre Ayton. But DeAndre Ayton played, how many minutes he played the other? Had one rebound. One rebound? Come on, dude. What you doing out there? Did DeAndre Ayton say that he looked himself in the mirror, that he had some self-reflection? I mean, this is crazy, man. Right? Did he say, yeah, I look at myself in the mirror? You see what happens when you're a LeBron James teammate? You have to look yourself in the mirror. Think about what that means, guys. Look yourself in the mirror. All right? And you know, shout out to you guys. Shout out to the Lonely One for coming through with the Superman. I appreciate it. Shout out to you. Like I said, guys, it means a lot for you guys to continue to come through. Yo, can you guys give me 1 minute, man? I'm gonna grab some water. Hold on, guys, 1 second. Sorry. Forgive me, guys. Forgive me. I appreciate you guys standing by and holding on for me. Once again, shout out to you guys, man. So again, yeah, you know, DeAndre Ayton's, you know, self-reflecting in mirrors. This way, shout out to my man Heath Overledger. Shout out to you for coming through, man. Shout out to my man Cottage. Shout out to you for coming through, man. I appreciate you guys coming through, man. Forgive me if I don't see some of you guys out here. Shout out to my man AOH. Yo, what up, AOH? What you do? Yo, hey, wait, you want to jump in this, man? What you doing, man? You want to jump in this? Let me know if you want to jump in, man. But yeah, when you're a LeBron James teammate, you have to do a lot of self-reflecting, right? People have to go talk to people, right? Things get really bad for you. You get death threats playing with LeBron James, right? All of a sudden, your legacy takes a hit playing with LeBron James. Like all of these things, right? Bad things happen for you when you're a LeBron James teammate, man. It never really seems to work out. So once again, man, it ain't easy when you're a LeBron James teammate out there, man. You got dudes like I said, DeAndre Ayton, looking at himself in the mirror, talking about, yo, I had to do some self-reflecting because I knew I can play better. No, you can't. When did DeAndre Ayton ever play good? Like, I don't understand these guys. Yeah, I look myself in the mirror because, yeah, I know I could do better and I can play better and I'm not playing up to my level. Dude, this is your level. This is your level. Your level is what it is. Your level is what you're doing right now. That's the level of DeAndre Ayton. This whole looking in the mirror thing don't make no damn sense to me. Shout out to my man, the Real Siberius. Doing my workout while I watch. Always a pleasure. Yo, shout out to the Real Siberius out there fighting against the laziness, like a lot of us need to continue to do, guys. Continue to fight against that laziness. Shout out to my man, the Real Siberius. He makes no excuses out there. Again, man, like I said, man, put in the work. I really appreciate you guys, man. It means a lot. Shout out to my man, Johnny Rojas, for coming through. Thank you for not being sponsored by these whack gambling sites. You are the real OG. Thank you for motivating me to get back to in fitness and health. Again, I appreciate you guys. Shout out the fitness side of things, man. Like I said, it really means a lot. I know a lot of people don't really watch a lot of my fitness videos. I know it's probably like me yelling at like 10 people. But it really means a lot. Shout out to Johnny Rojas, man. Like I said, that really means a lot to me, guys, because, as much as it means, for me to educate people or, to spread some education or to help you guys get a better understanding of some of the things, as far as sports goes and basketball and the history of the game and all this stuff, and gain some perspective. It's really, really important to me, that I also, have impacted and influenced people and motivated people, inspired people, to, fight against the laziness, to get up and move more. Like I said, that really means a lot to me. So like I said, shout out to Johnny Rojas, like the Real Siberia said, he's out there doing this thing. My man Airways is always talking about how, he'd be out there early in the morning listening to some of my stuff while he's, out there running with his dogs and stuff. So shout out to a lot of you guys, man. Like I said, that really truly humbled me with what I have done to help motivate and inspire you guys. Like I said, and you guys have in turn inspired a lot of things that I have done. I've talked about a lot of stuff on my fitness side of stuff. How you guys have also inspired me. So I said it means a lot. Like I said, you guys continue to come through, man. Yeah, shout out to my man, deal with it. Shout out to you, man. Did your workouts. I did my joy. You guys know I'll be out there early in the morning doing my stuff, y'all. 4 in the morning, man. I'm usually in the gym by like 4:30, doing my thing, man. So again, shout out to all you guys that do your exercise. Or once again, you don't have to go to a gym. You don't have to do an actual workout like a lot of us are talking about. Like I said, you can go walk. I run trails. Also, times you guys see I run the hills. You guys have seen the videos I've done running up the hills with my family, and a lot of times by myself. Like I said, go to the playground. I've done in practice, parkour and some of this kind of stuff. I'm not a parkour expert. I'm not Jackie Chan or any of this kind of stuff, man. But, some of that stuff, like I said, running or climbing things and, some of that stuff is just out there being active, guys, or just getting up, moving around. Like I said, finding a sport or something, a hobby that will help us to continue to be active. Like Airway says, goes and runs with his dog. So a lot of us, have pets. Me, myself, I have a dog. And, you could, it's a benefit for both of you guys, your pet and yourself. So again, like I said, it means a lot. Shout out to you guys, man. So again, yeah, man, I wanted to also, there was something I saw before I came on here. Someone had sent me something with the LeBron James stuff. We talk about the Lakers and like I said, they're not contenders. And I think that's the main thing here that we've been talking about is how the Lakers are not true contenders, guys. And last night was a perfect example of why they're not true contenders, because they don't do anything at a high level on the basketball court this season. I told you they're not one of the top assisting teams. They're middle of the pack. I think they're like 15th or 16th in assists, in turnovers. Once again, they're middle of the pack in the turnover department. So, all of these things combined, it makes you think, right? Damn, how are the Lakers winning games? And I told you, the one thing that they do, number one in the NBA, is field goal percentage. Field goal percentage. But when you look at the game, you look at the main players, LeBron James, right? The Luka Doncic's, a DeAndre Ayton, a Jackson Hayes. These are some of their main scorers, right? These are guys that are catching all the lob dunks. That's all these guys are getting. That's all they can do for them. That's really all Luka Doncic is allowing you to do. Lob dunks, right? Tip-ins, putbacks maybe on a shot attempt maybe for a Luka Doncic or LeBron James. That's what a lot of these guys are relegated to. They have to try to find points and find a way, on their own. I told you, it's on them. They have to make the adjustment. So when you look at the way the Lakers play the game, that's not conducive to winning basketball. All right, it's not. People would think like, oh, how come the Lakers are not one of the top assisting teams when you have guys like Luka Doncic getting triple doubles and LeBron James are getting triple doubles? But that's the problem. They're the only guys. Their baskets, the LeBron James baskets, even the Austin Reeves baskets, a lot of times they're not assisted on. So the other guys, right? They're not passing them the ball and creating and passing them the ball. No, it's a lot of them standing around while Luka Doncic. I told you guys, I was watching a game a couple of games ago. And 3 straight, I just turned the game on. It was like, I think it was the middle of the first quarter, I want to say. I turned the game on. 3 straight possessions. Luka Doncic inbounded the ball after the other team scored, right? They inbound the ball to Luka Doncic on the other side of the court. He went down the court 3 straight times like that and didn't pass the ball to anybody. Nobody. I mean, God, he inbounded the ball. And no one touched the ball. It wasn't like the ball inbound to somebody else, and then it went around to Luka Doncic, and then he did whatever he did for a while and didn't pass the ball to nobody. He inbounded the ball and passed the ball to no one for 3 straight plays. Guys, how the hell are you going to win a playoff game against a good team when that's the kind of offense you're running? No one touches the ball but to inbound to you? And we're all supposed to stand around and then watch you do all this stuff? Come on, man. That ain't going to get it done. Not against the Thunder. That's not what you saw last night. They're beat down, man. Beat down. Again, Luka Doncic goes down at the end with the hamstring. So what's LeBron James going to do? What's he going to do? Is he going to play now? Is he going to fake an injury? I'm dying to know if LeBron James is going to play or if he's going to fake the injury. What you gonna do, LeBron? What's he gonna do? Tony Montana. Yo, he's down, hamstring. If Luka down, guys. See, this is why the LeBron James fans, this is why y'all are in trouble, man. Because you guys were in my comment section talking about deleting my channel, talking about LeBron James winning his 5th ring. And why were you guys talking with so much bravado? Because LeBron James? No, because your boy Luka Doncic was averaging 40. He was averaging 40 during that win streak. He had all of y'all hyped up. And I told you, you guys are being carried. Your boy was being carried by Luka Doncic and the free throws. The Lakers are plus like 430, I think, 420 something. I think at the free throw line, guys. The OKC Thunder are plus 120. So what the hell are we saying here? The OKC Thunder are less than over 300 less at the free throw line than the Lakers this season. I mean, that's the only way that you're even winning some of these games. So I told you, when people were promoting the Lakers as contenders, they were promoting them as contenders off of the win-loss record. The win-loss record alone. They weren't actually looking at the games. They weren't actually looking at the style of play and what the Lakers were and weren't doing through the entire season, guys. There's like 7 games left. There's not like, we're not the halfway point of the season. The season's over. The season is over. The Lakers are who they are. And you know who they are, guys? They're not contenders. they no more contenders like the New York Knicks, man. I told you guys, people have been talking about the New York Knicks. Where y'all at? Y'all been real quiet, though, because the New York Knicks ain't been like that. The New York Knicks they've been a letdown this season, man. They've lost so many games that they shouldn't have lost. Oh, my God, man. The inconsistency from Karl Anthony Towns. The Knicks were supposed to be a powerhouse this year. This was supposed to be their year. It didn't look like that. I mean, they might get lucky with this Cade Cunningham situation if he can play. I don't know what's up with Cade Cunningham. But the Lakers ain't no damn contenders, man. Like I told you guys, with Luka Doncic down now for the regular season, and now think about this, guys. We talked about this in the intro briefly. Right? A hamstring injury. Again, anyone that knows about hamstrings, anyone that's been there with a hamstring, you guys know this is finicky. And again, I never wish harm on any of these guys, man. I don't see none of these guys hurt. I want all these guys to be 100% all the time so we get competition, or we get supposed to get competition from these clowns. But that's what I want. That's what we all want. True fans of basketball, people who actually play sports or competitive sports, you never want to see anybody get hurt. We never wish injuries on these guys. These guys are always faking injuries, man. They're always faking injuries. That's what's lame about a lot of this stuff. So again, when Luka Doncic first went down, I wasn't really sure what to think about it, because you never know with these guys. You never know if they're legit, if they're really hurt. You don't know. So, again, we don't want to see anyone go down. But the problem with this injury now for Luka Doncic is, I think they called it a grade 2 hamstring. The problem is, he has to sit out for the rest of the regular season. Okay, I believe there's like 5-6 games, whatever there is. He sits the games out, right? But now, where are you at after those games? Where are you at the end of the season, right? Where's he at? You don't know where he is. The only way you're going to know where you're at is by getting out there on the court and trying to give it a go. The problem is, you may not be ready at that point. So if the Lakers end up in a scenario where at the end of the season, Luka Doncic is down, right? And LeBron James fakes an injury not to go down, or even if LeBron James plays, don't matter, right? He's probably actually better off not playing. But let's say the Lakers lose the remaining games on their schedule without LeBron or without Luka Doncic there. I don't know who they're playing, so I don't know what the scenarios are. But I know they play the Thunder one more time. They're not going to beat the Thunder without Luka Doncic. So if they lose all these games, let's say, and they drop down to the 4th seed, right, in the standings, and now they have to play, I think, the Denver Nuggets maybe in the first round. Oh, my God. You're in trouble, man. You're in trouble. The Lakers don't want to see the Denver Nuggets in the first round, man. That's their kryptonite. Nikola Jokic is the LeBron James kryptonite. I'm telling you right now, and I tell you another scenario that the Lakers don't want to look at. If they don't want to have, I'm telling you right now, to me, the Clippers are starting to look like a team that you don't want to play in a first round scenario. And I'm telling you right now, man, I don't think the Lakers could beat a lot of these teams. I do not believe the Lakers are a 50-win team, legit 50-win team. I don't. They've got lifted to these 50 wins. I don't. If the Clippers played the Lakers, right, in the first round, the Clippers is beating them, Joe. I'm telling you, they beating them. If Kawhi Leonard there and he playing, we know Kawhi Leonard is LeBron James kryptonite. We know that. We know that. They don't want to see the Clippers in the first round. But I'm telling you right now, man, it's going to be crazy, man. Isaiah W., I'm telling you, I've been looking at the Clippers, man, and you guys know I'm not a Kawhi Leonard guy, man, but I give the man props, man, because I don't know if it's because it's a contract year or what, but the Clippers have been more consistent than I think people realize, and they've been, winning some games down the stretch here. They've lost some games, too, that I scratch my head at sometimes, but to me, in a scenario like that, I just don't, like, who the Lakers can beat? Like, if they matched up, the only team the Lakers could beat, to me, in a first-round scenario from some of the teams I've looked at, is maybe Golden State. To me, Golden State is the only team that I think they can beat. If they play the Phoenix Suns, I don't think they can beat the Phoenix Suns. I don't think they can beat the Suns. They beat the Suns once this season. They're 1-3 versus the Suns. Dylan Brooks is LeBron James got kryptonite all over the NBA. All over the NBA. Kawhi Leonard is LeBron James kryptonite. Nikola Jokic is LeBron James kryptonite. Dylan Brooks is LeBron James kryptonite. He don't want to see them dudes. Minnesota's LeBron James kryptonite. Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert is kryptonite for LeBron James, man. So I don't, like, who are the Lakers going to beat in a 7-game series in a playoffs? He don't want to see Kawhi Leonard. You think LeBron James want Kawhi Leonard guarding him? You think Luka Doncic want Kawhi Leonard guarding him? Nah, they don't want Kawhi Leonard out there on him, man. Like I said, to me, when you think about what I said, what some of these teams can do and the pressure that they can apply, they're going to be swarming Luka Doncic. And if he's got a hurt hamstring, yo, you in trouble, man. You in trouble. I'm telling you, in trouble. The Lakers are a solid team. They're a solid team. I told you they were a playoff team. To me, they should be about a 5th seed, I would say. To me, they were a legit 5th seed, but they're a 3 seed because of the free throws and the wins they've gotten. And some of the other teams, like the Houston Rockets, to me, like, they've been a letdown, the Rockets. I don't believe the Lakers can beat the Rockets in the first round. If Kevin Durant would get his head out of his butt for a minute here. I mean, my goodness, Kevin Durant. What else Kevin Durant at? Kevin Durant, LeBron James, both need to sit the hell down. They should have the Houston Rockets versus the Lakers, and LeBron James and Kevin Durant play 0 minutes in a series. That would be a good series. The Rockets versus the Lakers minus LeBron James and Kevin Durant. Fantastic series right there, man. Healthy Luka Doncic. We get the Sengun dude out there, man. We get Amen Thompson out there and, some of these other guys. And let them play, man. Keep LeBron James and Kevin Durant on the bench. Let them wear their fancy street clothes. Let them be cool like that and sit there and, I'm a basketball god, man, but I couldn't play in the series, because even God's got to rest. You know what I'm saying? Like, whatever, man. And LeBron James, he loves to wear goofy outfits anyway, so he'll have no problem sitting out on the bench and let Luka Doncic carry the Lakers, against the Houston Rockets in a scenario like that. Shout out to my man Mad Dog, shout out Reed Shepard, who's been balling out for the Houston Rockets. So again, Reed Shepard carrying Kevin Durant. There's some games where Reed Shepard's outscoring Kevin Durant. I mean, guys, this stuff is laughable out here, man. All right, because remember, Kevin Durant was brought in there to be the elite level scorer. He wasn't brought in there just to be another guy. He was supposed to come in there and be a top 5 scorer. Instead, you get a top 15 scorer. You get a guy who comes out there and gives you 25 a night when he should be giving you 30 a night. You got no-name dudes dropping 40 out there. You got guys like Bam Adebayo putting up 83, and you never scored 60? Come on, man. Where you at, dude? Luka Doncic got like 15, 40-point games. Kevin Durant got 1. Come on, man. Wow, this stuff's whack. Yeah, you guys know the deal, man. 0, that's right, Fancy. He got 0 swag. LeBron James ain't never had no swag, man. You guys know the deal. These are the facts out here. Yo, yeah, shout out to McZuggins. You're right, man. 3 missed playoffs, 3 soon to be 4 first-round exits. Yeah, 1 Western Conference Finals exit, 1 bubble ring. That's right. LA saved. Remember, that's how they always campaigned and promoted LeBron James, right? You on the money as the savior of LA, the savior. You're telling me that the Laker fans wouldn't die to have Kobe Bryant back in his last few years floundering around on one leg, man? Are you kidding me? I'd rather have Kobe Bryant out there in a wheelchair than LeBron James. I don't give a damn minute. See, people, I don't understand. Like, they're trying to make it seem like, the LeBron James fans or the LA Laker fans, man. It's not the same thing. The LA Laker fans are not LeBron James fans, man. They're not. I told you, man, people try to tell me that the real Laker fans are LeBron fans. Get the hell out of here, man. The real Laker fans ain't representing LeBron James. Look what he do to y'all uniform. Where's y'all pride at? If you're going to tell me you're a real Laker fan and you still rooting for LeBron James in y'all uniform doing all this goofy-ass stuff, then you're not a real Laker fan. I told you, man, all the great players. You have to think about the lineage there, man. The history for the Lakers. All the great players that wore that damn jersey. And you're going to tell me that you're going to respect what LeBron James been doing in that jersey? Remember this. He played peekaboo in y'all uniform, man. The man played peekaboo in y'all uniform. But you gonna sit there and tell me you're a real LeBron James fan, you love LA? Yeah, man, I'm a Laker fan too. I love LeBron James. I don't know what y'all talking about. And they say what? Nah, y'all Kobe fans. Oh, y'all just Kobe. Nah, the Kobe fans are Laker fans. Laker fans are Kobe fans. And it goes both ways because Kobe is the Lakers. The Lakers are Kobe. LeBron James is not the Lakers. The Lakers are not LeBron James. It's not the same thing. All right? What Kobe Bryant did, what he meant to the people. I don't even live in LA. I ain't never even been to LA. I ain't never been to California, man. I ain't never been that far west like that, man. All right? Well, no, I went to Hawaii one time. I ain't gonna lie, man, when I was in the military. But anyway, I ain't never been no damn California before, man. I ain't never been to no damn LA. All right? But I can see what he meant to the people. When that man died, you can see the whole city shut down. Everything shut down, man. Like, it was just, man, what? Come on, man. Like I said, man, you can just tell when you hear people talk about Kobe Bryant. I remember they were interviewing people, during that time, and you could hear it in their voice, man. You can hear that stuff. The man was there for them dudes, man. Like I say, he was there for the people. I told you, Kobe was a people's champ. LeBron James ain't never going to be a people's champ. I told you, Kobe Bryant ran himself into the ground for the Lakers franchise, to win games, to get the Lakers in a playoff scenario, to be a competitor. Like I said, it meant everything to him. He earned the respect, in my opinion. He earned the respect, man. He went out there and earned it. He did it the hard way. Like I said, the man went out there. LeBron James ain't gonna go out there for y'all. He ain't gonna do nothing for y'all. He's low managing on y'all. He don't care. He's flopping on the floor in your uniform. I told you, the man played peekaboo in y'all uniform. Crazy stuff out there. That's sad, man. Sad stuff. Like I said, all the great players that played that uniform that represented LA, represented the franchise. I mean, you ever hear Magic Johnson talk about the Lakers? Like, just what it meant, like, to play for the Lakers? You ever hear him talk about this stuff, man? I mean, it's going to make you cry. When you see LeBron James goofing it up in the same uniform, and people talk about, yeah, he deserves a statue for it. He deserves a statue? Okay. If we going to give him a statue, then we got to give him a statue doing this. That's got to be the statue. There's no other, I mean, come on, man. That has to be the statue. There's no way that man deserves a statue other than that. That's the facts, guys. You guys know that, man. Shout out to you guys, man. Again, man, rest in peace to Kobe Bryant, man. All the great players, that we mentioned on here, that have passed away. A lot of these guys are no longer with us. Again, so, and it's funny because when these guys, some of these great players have passed away. I remember when Jerry West passed away some years ago. And LeBron James wanted to show some fake love to Jerry West and act like, he loves Jerry West and had this great relationship with Jerry West and he respects Jerry West and all the guys back in the day. Dude, you don't respect them dudes. You don't respect them. The comments that you've made, the things that you've said, the things that you allowed people to say, you never check anybody with this stuff. All your people be tearing down the past. All your people be tearing down the past. Never says anything about this stuff. You don't give a damn about no Jerry West, man. Dude, fake as hell. I told you, that's why I don't respect him. One of the things I don't respect about LeBron James, you fake as hell, dude. You be showing fake love to people that you never showed love to when they were around, right? You was fake as hell with Kobe Bryant, too. You fake as hell with Michael Jordan. People see right through that stuff. When I tell you guys, when I say something like real, recognize real, do you guys understand what I'm saying? I think most people do, but some people don't understand what I'm saying there. I'm not saying that just to say because it sounds cool. It sounds hip. Oh, yeah, real, recognize real, man. Real, recognize real. No, that actually means something. It really does. And real, what I'm talking about, real, recognize real. So if you don't know what I'm talking about when I'm saying this, then you are the problem. You are the problem. Okay? So when you think about someone like Michael Jordan, and we're talking about LeBron James, and we're talking about Kobe Bryant, we're talking about these three individuals, and we're talking about real, recognize real. I want you guys to listen and think about the interactions between Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, right? Think about these interactions, the things that have been said, right? How they say these things, right? Remember Kobe Bryant, they asked him about playing LeBron James one-on-one or something like that, and he kind of laughed at this stuff, right? All these different scenarios that we hear about. The one thing that you get from a Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant dynamic is a mutual respect there that is earned, earned respect. I told you that Kobe Bryant earned his respect. Michael Jordan earned the respect. Kobe Bryant earned the respect of Michael Jordan. So you talk about a mutual respect that you can tell by the way they talk about each other, right? We all saw Michael Jordan at the funeral for Kobe Bryant and the way he was and the things that he was saying and the way he was saying it, right? So you talk about the same kind of dynamic and the things that are said between a LeBron James and a Michael Jordan, the dynamic between a Kobe Bryant and a LeBron James, and some of the things that are said between these guys and how they interact with each other. There's a lack of respect there that I can see from a Michael Jordan to a LeBron James, a Kobe Bryant to a LeBron James. They don't look at LeBron James as on their level. That's what I see in the interactions that I've seen that they've had. Very limited between a LeBron James and a Michael Jordan. But we all know, we've seen the interactions between Kobe Bryant and LeBron James on the basketball court. And we can tell that Kobe Bryant does not respect LeBron James. He does not respect his game. He does not respect his game. And he does not respect him as a competitor. He does not. So again, real recognize real. And them dudes don't recognize LeBron James like that. They don't recognize him like that. That's one of the reasons why I tell you guys, LeBron James is never going to be worthy to be in the top 10 all time. He's never going to be able to be in a conversation with the real ones, with the real guys, the Larry Birds, the Magic. Them dudes is real. Real as hell. Them dudes is real hard competitors, man. Larry Bird, tough as nails, man. The dude is known for his grit. We've talked about Larry Bird before. You ain't going to out-grit Larry Bird. You're going to out-tough Larry Bird. No, man. These guys were tough. They were competitors. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was a competitor, man. Bill Russell, you're going to out-compete Bill Russell? Come on, man. You got to come and bring it against Bill Russell, man. Every night, Bill Russell gonna be there, and you have to deal with this dude. So again, man, these are true competitors. They had to deal with a lot of stuff when they played the game. But now they trying to dismiss these guys as if they weren't competitors or they weren't playing basketball back then. Like insane stuff, or as if they had all the advantages in life. Give me a freaking break here. I mean, come on, man. You guys know the deal, man. Yo, shout out to all you guys, man, in the chat. I see you guys out there. Yeah, you know what Michael Jordan felt about him. That's what he said. Like I said, these are real feelings, man. So, yeah, he's hey, Kareem trained with Bruce Lee. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So, again, like I said, these guys were, like I said, Kareem was nasty, man. I remember growing up, man, Kareem was just a nasty dude. He was an ornery personality. He had like an ornery personality. I always remember Kareem was like one of them guys, like, he didn't vibe with the media. Like, you know what I'm saying? He wasn't like that, yo. Like I said, Kareem put their hands on you out there. I said, these guys will put their hands on you out there, man. They'll mess you up. They was tough, man. They didn't whatever. I remember Kareem and Larry Bird going nose to nose. You know what I'm saying? In the playoffs. I mean, in the finals. Like, this is what you get. Like, this is what happens. You know what I'm saying? These guys are not backing down, man. Like I said, this other rivalries are intense, man. Like I said, these guys, like I said, they're going to go out there and battle, man. Like I said, they were true warriors. All right, like I said, they earned the respect. That's why I said we owe them. We owe them. These guys put their bodies on the line. They did a lot of things that the guys today won't do. So, like I said, when a guy like Luka Doncic goes down with a hamstring, and I'm not doubting his hamstring injury, they diagnose him with a grade 2 hamstring. But when he goes down last night, your immediate thought is he really hurt? If Larry Bird goes down and he doesn't get up, let's say, what do you think in your mind? What's the first thing you think in your mind if Larry Bird goes down and doesn't get up? You like, damn, Larry Bird must be hurt, man. This ain't good. That's what all the time back in the day, if a player went down, one of the big time players went down, right? You knew these guys were tough, man. And they went down and they didn't pop right back up. You knew it was bad. There was no question. It wasn't like, he's all right. You know what I'm saying? He was rolling around for 5 minutes. You know what I'm saying? But he's good. If dudes went down back then and they didn't get up, or they didn't pop right back up, or they couldn't walk it off, then you know they was hurt, man. Something was bad here. They couldn't just get back up. And even still, a lot of those guys, the guys who are extra, right? There's levels to this stuff, guys. A lot of those guys would still get up. They would still walk it off, and they would be jacked up. You know what I'm saying? But they would still walk. They still play. That's what these guys did. They were warriors like that. They put themselves on the line. They wasn't getting paid $1 gazillion. They didn't have guaranteed money. They wasn't getting all these endorsements and commercials and all this stuff. But they went out there. Why? Because they loved the game of basketball. They wanted to compete, damn it. They wanted to go out there and earn it. And that's what the standard was. If everyone else is fighting against injuries, everyone else is fighting through pain, and you don't, then you look like the fool. You're the soft one here, right? You're in the minority if you're not doing it, because that was commonplace. Most of those guys toughed it out. You walked it off, so to speak. Even though you were hurt, you were jacked up. Maybe you made it worse. It didn't matter. That wasn't the point. It was the principle of it. You were going to go out there and compete. That's what men did. That's what pros did. All right? And to be a professional meant something, damn it. You were held to a higher standard. Yeah, shout out to you guys out there. Yeah, third pick, Shakira Austin. Shout out to you. Reeves soft. A lot of guys out there soft right now, right? That's part of the problem in the NBA. Guys like LeBron James setting the example. Because like we just said, when the standard is held, I mean, Will Chamberlain played through a lot of stuff, guys. I mean, this man had a devastating injury, came right back in record time, played with a broken hand, right? I mean, barely ever missed games, Will Chamberlain, Bill Russell. These guys played with a lot of pain, a lot of stuff. They battled through a lot of this stuff, man. Right? You tell me Kareem Abdul-Jabbar wasn't hurting from time to time, or Willis Reed when he limped out there, right? He was in a lot of pain, but it wasn't about Willis Reed going out there and scoring 30, right? I remember listening to Walt Clyde Frazier, right, on a podcast a couple of years ago. He was being interviewed, right? And they were talking to him about that moment. And he's talking about Willis Reed coming out. And he said it wasn't about what Willis Reed did or didn't do in the game, because you remember, I think he scored 2 points in the game. It wasn't about Willis Reed's impact. He barely could play. He said when he came out, he said that did something to me. He said without Willis Reed, I can't play and be, Walt Clyde Frazier in that moment. He said he raised me up by coming out there. So when you talk about leadership, when you talk about impacting other people, inspiring other people to do things that they maybe couldn't have done or thought they could have done, but you inspired them to do that. Guys, that's leader. That's what leaders do. I've been around great leaders, guys. I've been fortunate in my life. Not only my parents great leaders or shown me great leadership in my life, I'm very fortunate. I've told you guys many times I have both of my parents still to this day, and they've stuck together and been married my entire life, and they raised me and my brothers, I told you, with a certain sense of values, right? But I've also was around a lot of great leaders in the military, right? A lot of great leaders. So it's helped influence me in my life. All right. And I've told you and I've talked to you guys about what leaders do or what the leaders that I've been around and, how people lead and different things and how leaders can influence you. And there's different levels of leadership. And that's another way right there. So again, we're talking about inspiring the people to be able to see things or do things that they don't think they can. That's what Willis Reed did for a Walt Clyde Frazier, who was a great player in and of himself, but he needed a little something extra from Willis Reed that he was like, yo, hold on a second here, man. We're going to win this game. We're going to win this thing, right? Because the captain came out. That's what a champion is. That's what's called grit. That's what's called heart right there. If you didn't know what heart was, there's a perfect example of what digging down deep and coming out and doing something to inspire everybody out there, right? That's what it's about, man. So I told you, a lot of us have maybe personal stories. Maybe someone inspired you, right? Maybe you inspired somebody. It happens out there in life. That's why I always tell you guys, to contribute to society. Don't be a burden on society. We must contribute to society. And in order for us to contribute to society, sometimes we have to sacrifice. We have to sacrifice sometimes, guys. I told you, contribute to society. Some of us has a bigger or greater burden than others. That's the way it goes, man. It ain't my fault. That's the way life is sometimes for us. Some of us have bigger burdens than others. It's up to us. Some of us are strong. Some of us are not, right? Some of us are loud. Some of us are quiet, right? Some of us are able to do things that other of us can't do, man. All right? Some people just can't do certain things. Some people don't have it inside of them. So we have to stand up for these people. We have to help people. People don't want to help nobody no more. Don't ever help somebody, man. If you're able to help somebody, try to help somebody. But anyway, enough of that stuff. But anyway, these are the facts out here. So when you have LeBron James out there low managing and he ain't doing nothing out there and all these other guys are seeing this stuff, this is what you have in the NBA, right? Everyone's out here being soft right now. Yo, I appreciate you guys, man. Shout out to Richard, man. I appreciate you guys, man. You guys know, man, I hate to hit you guys with the message, man. Hit you guys with a message. Oh, man, I'm truly humbled, man, for you guys. Always come through. Like I said, it means a lot for you guys to spend a Friday night and listen to me ramble on a little bit here. Like I said, it really does, man. Truly, truly humbling, man. Shout out to my man, the real Siberius, again for coming through, man. You truly humble me. Reading Big O's book, Oscar was a beast, sorely underrated and disrespected. Lack of video has sullied his reputation in the league. He was the man. Yeah, again, shout out to the real Siberius for bringing up Oscar Robertson. Shout out to my man, classic basketball DVDs for coming through. Yeah. In the last live show, I think it was the last live show, I shouted out my man Dan over at the Will Chamberlain archive and the video that he had done on Oscar Robertson and Jerry West. And I told you guys how the one thing that I was impressed with, or I didn't realize, I guess was underrated to me or unknown to me really, was Oscar Robertson's size and the strength of that he played with. He was like he was a solid guy, like about 6'5", 220 pounds. And he played with a lot of strength. And I didn't realize, how strong Oscar Robertson was. And when I was watching the video from the Will Chamberlain archive, when you combine that with his overall skills, like I said, his overall game, obviously, and he talked about his high release on his jump shot, really made him difficult to defend, which is why Oscar Robertson averaged 30 as a rookie, right? When he first got to the NBA, Oscar Robertson, one of the great scorers in NBA's history. I do not believe. Did the Bleacher Report have Oscar Robertson on their top 15? I don't remember if he was on that list or not. But Oscar Robertson obviously should definitely have been on that list. I don't believe he was. But once again, Oscar Robertson, another guy we talk about, they said the high release of Oscar Robertson on his jump shots the Will Chamberlain talked about that as being a very formidable part of his game. So again, shout out to the Big O, like my man the Real Siberia said. Overall the things he got. I mean, when you think about, part of the problem for some of those guys like the Real Siberians mentioned, obviously, you're right. The video footage is not there. Like the '90s or the 2000s. Like today, obviously, the stuff that because even the '90s footage, if you ever go back and watch a lot of this stuff, some of this stuff is hard. It's hard to watch. It's very grainy. So to get footage of the '60s is very, very difficult. It's not much on these guys. But not only is there not much video footage on Oscar Robertson, but also you're in an era with Will Chamberlain, with Bill Russell. I mean, so when you talk about just those two names alone, they take up a lot of the light. Then you're talking about the Elgin Baylors and the Jerry Wests, right? I mean, these are some of the great, great players. Bob Pettit was still playing around this time, right? You had Bob Cousy still there. So, I mean, my goodness, when you talk about the great players, that played during that era, sometimes you get lost in the shuffle, so to speak. When you think about Jerry West never won an MVP in his career, and Oscar Robertson won one MVP, like I said, that really shows you, what it was like. That's why I laugh and I say, I mean, you really think that Russell Westbrook's winning an MVP in the 60s? He's not even coming close to an MVP in the 60s. There's no knock on him. You think James Harden's winning MVP in the 60s, guys? Against Will Chamberlain or Bill Russell, right? Or Oscar Robertson or Jerry West or Elgin Baylor every season? I mean, my goodness, guys, it's damn near impossible, guys. It's impossible to do this stuff, to crack into the MVPs during these times because of the competition for these awards. It's just not going to happen, guys. All right, Nikola Jokic is now winning 3 MVPs in the 60s when your competition is Bill Russell, Will Chamberlain, Jerry West, Elgin Baylor, Oscar Robertson, Bob Cousy, right? Like every year, you're trying to go against some of the greatest players in the history of the game. Not just great players for their era. You're talking about the greatest players of all time. That's your competition. You're not winning MVPs against these guys. I mean, like I said, if you think about some of the guys who didn't win MVPs in some of these eras, I mean, think about the 90s. We talk about the 90s. Think about the 80s. Who's getting MVP in the freaking 80s? It's impossible to get an MVP in the 80s, man. Come on, man. Joel Embiid's not winning an MVP in the 80s, guys. It's not happening. All right? It's just not going to happen, guys. Not even close. When you got Larry Bird every season and Magic Johnson every season, a young Michael Jordan coming in and a young Charles Barkley coming in, a young Hakeem Olajuwon coming in, and Moses Malone is there, and Dr. J is there, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is there. I mean, my God, who's winning the MVP? Those guys are not winning MVPs, man. God, I said the competition's fierce every single season for these awards. That's why I talk about, like, think about if, when we talk about the Rudy Gobert stuff, guys, and I know some of the stuff we mentioned sometimes, many times, but if Rudy Gobert is a 4-time Defensive Player of the Year award winner over the last 10 years or so, let's say, in this era, guys, does anyone believe that Rudy Gobert played in the 60s? Let's say they had the award in the 60s. You're telling me he's winning it over Will Chamberlain and Bill Russell, Nate Thurmond, Willis Reed? Like, you're winning the Defensive Player of the Year award over them guys? Jerry West was going to be a Defensive Player of the Year award candidate every season. John Havlicek. These guys are going to be candidates every year for defense. These are all-time legendary defensive players. Gus Johnson. I mean, come on, man. Guys. And again, that's not a knock on Rudy Gobert. All right? It's not a knock on him. I know it sounds like I'm knocking him, right? What we're doing there is we're putting perspective. I'm putting some perspective on Rudy Gobert's 4 Defensive Player of the Year awards, guys. All right? All right? That's what we're doing here. Again, if we think about some of the great players and the eras that they played in, and you think about some of the guys that never won Defensive Player of the Year awards, some of that has to do with the era they played in. You just competed against great defensive players. Rudy Gobert is not winning 4 defensive. To me, if any defensive player was in the 90s era, right, when they were giving the award out, you're telling me he's winning 4 battling every year against Patrick Ewing and Dikembe and Olajuwon and Robinson. And like I said, Scottie Pippen's battling for Defensive Player of the Year award. And Gary Payton is. Alonzo Mourning some of those years. Michael Jordan's battling for Defensive Player of the Year award in the 90s. Dennis Rodman. You didn't win Defensive Player of the Year award with Dennis Rodman. What are we talking about here? I mean, insane stuff. Those guys were competing with each other. You think he's winning in the 2000s over Tim Duncan or Kevin Garnett every year? Ben Wallace? You know, like, what are we doing here? He wasn't better than them dudes in the 2000s. Kobe Bryant's getting Defensive Player of the Year award of votes, right? I mean, like, come on, man. Tim Duncan never won one. Never won one. Rudy Gobert, you're telling me Rudy Gobert's a 4-time Defensive Player of the Year award better on defense than Tim Duncan was? Like, what do we even say to this? What do you say to these things? So that's what I'm saying. Like, the awards, when you think about some of the awards and how they're done, like, when you think about some of the competition, like, listen, much respect to these guys today, but Luka Doncic is not winning an MVP in the 90s. No, I don't care what numbers he thinks he's going to be putting up. He ain't be putting numbers up in the 90s, man. He ain't winning no MVP in the 90s. He ain't going to play enough games, number one. But he ain't going to win no damn MVP in the 90s, man. Ain't happening, all right? Joel Embiid ain't win no MVP in the damn 90s, all right? Jason Tatum, these guys are in competition for that. No, Nikola Jokic. And Nikola Jokic is great, guys. I tell you he's great, man, but he ain't winning MVP in the 90s, guys. It's not happening. You can't tell me he's going to put up ridiculous numbers in that era. It's impossible. There's just no way. There's no way you can make that argument. There would be too much resistance. Too much. I told you, Nikola Jokic to me is Brad Daugherty in the 90s. And that's not a knock on him. Brad Daugherty's good. He's a Hall of Famer. But he's an MVP winner. Embiid ain't win no damn MVP. Not coming close. I tell you, Joel Embiid ain't lasted in the 90s. He'd be out the first season. He get hit with one of them elbows. He get hit with a Kevin McHale elbow or a Karl Malone elbow. Or, somebody just go down there and Patrick Ewing hit him with a forearm or something, man, it's over. He'll fold up. I told you, accordion style. Zoom, just fold right up, Joel Embiid. He want to come back. Always knock him all the way back to Cameroon. Dikembe Mutombo, Hakeem Olajuwon, all those guys would be embarrassed as a fellow countryman from Africa. Be like, yo, man, you ain't representing us. Manute Ball, all them dudes, they be embarrassed by Joel Embiid, man. He ain't representing them dudes. Hell no. Come on, man. Talking about I wrestle with lions. Goodness great, man. You one of the biggest floppers I've ever seen in my... Yo, Joel Embiid be flopping, y'all. That dude be throwing himself on the ground. It's actually crazy, man. Actually crazy. Oh, man. Again, shout out to you guys coming through on a Friday night. I hope you guys are having a good weekend. USMC 19, shout out to you. Will LeBron James get more credit if he takes a sixth-man role and wins a chip? I want you to understand something right now, USMC 19. LeBron James will never get credit. He will never get credit. You know why LeBron James will never get credit? Because what you're talking about there, LeBron James taking a lesser role, and I respect this question. It's actually a good question. Taking a lesser role, right? I say, and being a sixth man. The problem with you saying that is what would make you think LeBron James would ever do that? We're 23 years into this, man. We're 23 years deep. He should have did it 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago. He should have did something like this. Maybe not take a six-man role, but a lesser role. I told you guys, up until Anthony Davis last year, LeBron James was still taking more shots per game than Anthony Davis did the entire time he was on the Lakers. Why are you taking more shots than Anthony Davis, dude? Are you kidding me? You should have been deferring to Anthony Davis every chance you got, but instead, you still went out there and chased Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. That's what you did, taking 18, 19, 20 shots a game. So LeBron's never going to take a back seat. He won't do that. Even though he's playing the quote-unquote third option now, it's strictly because LeBron James has zero impact on the court. He's a negative impact on the court. But what is he still doing? Still chasing the stats. He's still out there chasing them damn stats, man. He won't give it up. So, you think LeBron's going to help you in the sixth man? He ain't going to do nothing in the sixth man. He's not going to be a legit sixth man. A sixth man's supposed to come in and give you a punch, right? Give you a little boost off the bench. Come in there and give you something. You think LeBron's going to come in and give you something? He's going to come in here and give you a flop. He's going to come in here and give you He's going to come in here and give you poor body language. I mean, LeBron James is 41, guys. He's 41 years old. He has grown kids. And LeBron still does this on the court. Guys, I was watching a video one time. Oh, excuse me. My wife showed me a video one time where we were sitting on the couch one time, right? And she started laughing. And I'm like, what's so funny? I told you, my wife has become kind of invested in some of this stuff. She thinks some of this stuff is funny. So she's laughing. I'm like, what's so funny? And she shows me a video of LeBron James. I think it was last season. I want to say, I think it was last year. And he's doing this on the side. And she's cracking up laughing. This is my wife, or as a woman, reacting to LeBron James by laughing at him. By laughing at him, but why is she laughing at him? Because he's pouting and moaning. He's stomping and jumping up and down like an 8-year-old. He's 40 years old doing this. Guys, I'm 45, man. I'm a little bit older than LeBron James. But damn it, guys. I've never done that I've done it a long. If I ever did that in my life, I was a kid. I haven't done anything like that recently. Sometimes I can't do something, right? Sometimes I want to do something, but I can't do something. I don't do this. I don't do that. Sometimes I want to buy something. I can't. LeBron, sometimes I see this. I'm like, damn, man, I want to buy that. I wish I could buy that, but I know I can't. So it's like, I got to get gas instead, and gas is all jacked up right now. So I don't stop and do all this craziness. But LeBron James doing that. 41 years old. Come on, man. Shout out to USMC. Shout out to the Marine Corps. You guys are true legit. Like I said, man. Shout out to anybody out there that's out there, dealing with whatever we're dealing with right now in this this weird ass world that we live in. Goodness gracious, boy, I tell you. Goodness gracious. Shout out to you guys coming through with the supers, man. My bad, man. I think shout out to the real Donald Trump for coming through. Kobe inspired LeBron, Wade, and Bosh to team up. Absolutely. 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 And you know what's funny is how these guys tell these stories now, right? They're big, yeah, man. I was sitting at home and we saw Kobe Bryant win and he grabbed the basketball. And I was like, yo, I called LeBron up. These guys are so corny, man. Like, they think these stories are funny, but all that really does is show how corny you guys are and show how lack of competitiveness that you guys ultimately have for you guys to do this kind of stuff or feel that way and say these kinds of things. It doesn't add up. One of my favorite things, one of my favorite stories was when Chris Bosh told the story about the Redeem Team. Right, I love that story that Chris Bosh tells. Right, when I think he was talking about his Hall of Fame speech. I think he was talking about it. And he said that he wanted to be the first person at the gym, right? He was going to be the first person to get there, right? He was going to make a point, right? To really, show that, hey, man, I'm one of the leaders here, blah, blah, blah. And he said he got there and Kobe Bryant was already there, already had worked out. He was already soaked in sweat, right? Ice packs on his knees. He had already put some work in already before anyone else even got there. He had already worked out. So when you talk about, the levels, Kobe Bryant was on another level, right? He was on that Jordan level, right? When these guys weren't on that level, man, so for them, it was like an eye opener. It's like, damn, like I thought I was doing it, but there was somebody else. Like, remember in the movie, He Got Game, right? You remember that movie, He Got Game, right? Where Denzel Washington tells him, he's like, yo, the only person out here is me, you, and Jordan. Me, you, and we the only ones out here. Ain't nobody out here right now doing this. We're the only ones out here, right? You have to think that way. That's how a lot of these guys think, right? There's someone out there that's just working out more than me. There's someone getting up earlier than me, right? I mean, like, that's called preparation, right? Like, you have that mindset, the focus that you always need that edge. There's always someone out there that's trying to take something. Like, I remember Michael Jordan said, I feel like someone's trying to take something from me. Like, I'm thinking about how powerful that sounds. Someone's trying to take something from me. Like, think about it. Like, think about it even as a kid growing up. If someone tries to take something from you, that's not cool. That's robbery, man. You trying to take something from me? Like, you're a kid and someone trying to take your toy away. You gonna be like, no, man, this is my toy. Yo, hold up. Someone trying to take something from you. So when Michael Jordan talked about, the championship and him feeling that somebody was trying to take something away from him, right? Like, that's the competitiveness. That's what he felt. This will let you know, guys on another level, right? Another level, y'all. Yo, you guys know the deal. Yeah, you're going to be waiting on that Johnny Arnett video for a minute, man. He ain't going to do that damn video. I think he did a video the other day talking about should Michael Jordan have won the Defensive Player of the Year award in 87, I think, over Michael Cooper, if I remember correctly. I think he did a video on that, which I thought was interesting. I didn't watch it, but like I said, when are you going to do that LeBron video? But again, AOH did some of that research for us when he did that one game when he tracked LeBron James' assists. You know, these are the facts, man. Yeah, right. Don't hold your breath. Exactly, the real Siberius. You guys know that. You say you'd be like Big Country? Was it Bryant Reeves? Bryant Reeves, I think his name was Big Country, Bryant Reeves. Shout out to Big Country. I mean, you had guys like, remember Sean Bradley and George Murasan. You just had big body guys. You know, like I said, every night you were going to just be banging with somebody. I told you guys, it wasn't about every night was a Hall of Fame center, even though most nights, think about all the Hall of Famers that played in the 90s, they're the center position. You're going to be dealing with Hall of Famer more nights than not. But even the second-rate guys, I told you, the third-rate guys, the Michael Cages and Olden Polynice we talked about before. You know, some of these guys that bowed down low, a Thurl Bailey, a Mark Eaton. Like, Manute Ball. You know, these are just guys that you're going to be going against people, man. Some of these guys are just big. I mean, Mark Eaton was a mammoth. A mammoth. He's going to be leaning on you all night. And think about the front line of Karl Malone, Mark Eaton, and Thurl Bailey. Like, that was a stout front line for the Utah Jazz for some of them years. They had years where you had Karl Malone, Mark Eaton. You had, obviously, John Stockton on the defensive end. Jeff Malone. Jeff Malone was just straight. Man, Jeff Malone was like one of them dudes. I remember, like, when I used to watch Michael Jordan a lot, I used to always remember guys that played really good against Michael Jordan. Guys that, always gave Michael Jordan problems. Jeff Malone was one of them guys. Shout out to Jeff Malone, because I told you, I know he don't get mentioned much, and I'm not saying that Jeff Malone's a Hall of Famer or nothing like that, but he was a really good player, Jeff Malone. And I told you, he matched up good with Michael Jordan because he was like a big-bodied dude, right? I told you, he was a very tough player, a hard-nosed player, Jeff Malone, and he can get some buckets out there. So once again, shout out to Jeff Malone. And like I said, it's a pro's pro, Jeff Malone. Again, man, like I told you, but he used to give Michael Jordan problems, Jeff Malone, on the defensive man. He was tough, man. Yeah, you know that, man. Yeah, exactly. Buckets out there. My man Heath Overledger talking about Jeff Malone. You guys know the deal. Those are the facts out here. Yeah, Mitch Richmond. Yeah, you're right, Mitch Richmond. Derek Coleman was he's a talented stat pattern, and that man got clowned for it. He get a super max today. Yeah, Derek Coleman. He had some personal issues. Derek Coleman, man. He, some people fighting demons out there, and they can't get right. Derek Coleman, and Derek Coleman was one of those guys that had a lot of potential, right? A lot of talent. I remember when Derek Coleman first came out, man. He had the sneakers. What were they called? Were they the BK Diamond Cells? I could be off on that. I can't remember. But I remember that Derek Coleman, maybe they were Converses that Derek Coleman had. Were they Cons or were they British Knights? I don't remember, man. But he had some sneakers. Derek Coleman, I told you, he had a lot of talent. But yeah, just had some issues, man. But yeah, he used to be able to do some things. A shout out to my man PMR Hoops for coming through. Like I said, you guys are dropping some names. I remember this guy, Billy Owens. There was a guy named Billy Owens. I remember back in the day. Came out in like the early 90s. I think maybe like 90, maybe like 92 or something like that. Billy Owens, if I remember correctly, somewhere around there. But I remember he played for the Golden State Warriors for some years, and I thought he was going to be like maybe a baby Charles Barkley or like a low budget Charles Barkley, Billy Owens. And he just ended up, having injuries and just never really, had to, develop or anything like that. Even like a Larry Johnson, man. Larry Johnson to me was one of them guys, man, where he was going to be a problem, Larry Johnson. And, the injuries just destroyed Larry Johnson because his game was tenacious. Like he was one of my favorite players when he came out, Larry Johnson, man. Like I said, that Charlotte Hornets team, that was one of my favorite teams of the 90s, was the Charlotte Hornets. Like you had Alonzo Mourning, Larry Johnson, Muggsy Bogues, Del Curry, Johnny Newman. Who was the other guy you had on that team? You had somebody else, a couple other guys on that team. But you just had the Charlotte Hornets to me, like I said, I just like that team. They were really a really cool team. So shout out to the guys on the Charlotte Hornets, man, for them years. I think everybody went and got like a Charlotte Hornets starter jacket because of the colors of the Charlotte Hornets. Yeah. Yo, shout out to my man Armando Ruiz. You always got some good comments, man. A lot of you guys really have good comments. I'm not gonna lie. You guys surprise me sometimes with the wit and some of the stuff you guys say. I see in the chat. Even if I don't shout you guys out, I see some of this stuff. And this is funny again because you told Michael K's Jerry curl was Hall of Fame worthy itself. Yo, you ain't lying, man. You are not lying. Yo, AC Green, Michael Cage, they had some crazy Jerry curls. Kendall Gill had a good curl too. But yeah, you're right, man. Michael Cage had some curl, boy. Like, yeah. Oh man, he had that soul glow. He had that soul glow. That's crazy, man. Oh, goodness gracious, man. So funny, man. That's some funny stuff right there. But you're right about that. Gino Panzini, what up? Kevin Willis. Yo, remember, we mentioned, some of the big power forwards, some of these guys down low, some of these battlers. I mean, Kevin Willis was like a pros pro. He was one of those guys that every night he was going to be there, he was going to bring it. I always like Kevin Willis, too. You talk about Kevin Willis on the Atlanta Hawks with Dominique Wilkins. They had some good teams there. Spud Webb, I think Doc Rivers was on some of them teams. There was a couple of iterations there of the Atlanta Hawks, coached by Mike Fratello. But shout out to Kevin Willis, man. But yeah, he was tough. We talk about guys like Kevin Willis, the Otis Thorpes, right? The Charles Oakleys, the Buck Williams, right? Like these are just some tough guys, bangers, bruisers down low, at the power forward position. These guys, like I said, you talk about some of the front lines, Kevin McHale. I mean, these are just some stout. I mentioned Larry Johnson, right? Like you're talking about stout front lines, guys like Larry Nance, right? These are just stout power forwards, man, that were going to battle down low. They were going to be banging for rebounds every single night, those guys, man. Xavier McDaniel, like I said, Tom Chambers, right? Tom Chambers was nice. Oh, shout out to Tree Rollins. I remember right over Rollins, man, when Jordan dunked over Rollins, right over. He gave him the fake. That was Cliff Livingston. You guys remember that? He faked out Cliff Livingston with the ball fake, and then he came in and dunked it right over Rollins, right? Tree Rollins, man. Yeah, so again, man, shout out to those guys out there, man. It's really, like I told you, it's really, if you think about, some of the players that we mentioned, like I said, guys, they played positions. You know what I'm saying? Like they played their position. That's what they did. Like they were battling. Even the point guards. We always talk about like the big time guys, and with Gary Payton and John Stockton and Tim Hardaway and Kevin Johnson. I mentioned many times. We mentioned Magic Johnson, Isaiah Thomas. The great point guards of the 80s into the 90s. Some of that transition. But we mentioned like I said, guys like Terry Porter before. Mark Price. I told you Mark Price was cold, man. Mark Price was. When you watch some of Mark Price games, and I remember watching, I'm not watching, but watching the games of the Bulls versus the Cavaliers and some of those playoff scenarios. And we all know that Mark Price was dealing with a lot of injuries himself. But Mark Price was cold, man. I told you, this dude was really like that. And you talk about a guy that would flourish in this style of NBA with less physicality, right? More space to play in. I mean, Mark Price is going to be a problem because Mark Price was a pure shooter. When you talk about pure scorers, Mark Price was a pure shooter. Pure. I mean, the guy was money at the free throw line, money from the mid range. He was open. He was money. Mark Price. I mean, an excellent shooter. A really good ball handler. Mark Price. Really good passer. Mark Price. He's a really good point guard, but he doesn't get mentioned much because I said there was a lot of great point guards that played in the 90s. Some of the guys I mentioned, Jason Kidd came in the 90s. Anthony Hardaway came in the 90s. So even Terry Porter. I remember I was talking about this before in one of the lives. And Terry Porter doesn't get mentioned much, doesn't get a lot of recognition. And not saying that he's a Hall of Fame or all-time great, but he was really good, man, Terry Porter. And I remember, during that 1991 run, 92 run to the NBA Finals for the Portland Trailblazers in the Western Conference Finals, Terry Porter averaged like 30 points a game. He actually outscored Clyde Drexler in the Western Conference Finals. So Terry Porter, man, and he was knocking threes down, in a time where you didn't really shoot threes like that. But Terry Porter was doing his thing. Yeah, exactly. Penny Hardaway, man. You guys remember Penny in the 90s, man? These are some of the point guards. We all know about Penny's injuries. But yeah, man, like some of these point guards, like I said, Mark Jackson to me was Mark Jackson to me, one of the great, great passers in NBA's history. But again, guys like Rod Strickland, Kenny Anderson. Now, you remember some of these guys. We know about Muggsy Bogues. I mentioned Muggsy Bogues before. Excellent. Really good defensive player, Muggsy Bogues. Just an excellent, really a floor general, Muggsy Bogues. We talk about a lot of these guys that played the game, like Rod Strickland, a very underrated player from that time, one of the elite ball handlers. And when you watch Rod Strickland dribble the basketball, I want you guys to watch Rod Strickland dribble the basketball. If you ever watch, go back and watch the Bulls versus the Bullets in 1997, the playoffs, the first round. Michael Jordan guards Rod Strickland through the entire series. When you watch Rod Strickland dribble the basketball, hand on top of the ball, guys, right? When you watch Rod Strickland dribble the basketball, guys, they're not doing all this nonsense like this stuff and stepping all over the court. Rod Strickland's not doing all this crazy stuff. Rod Strickland's dribbling the basketball, man. Like I told you, one of the elite ball handlers in the history of the game. When you think about what this guy could do, some of the moves I saw him do. I mean, Rod Strickland had this great crossover spin move that he would do. Like, I mean, he on Michael Jordan, like on people, where he would come down and like he would hit you with the boom, boom, and hit you with like this cross and a spin. And it was such a tight spin. Like I said, you're all bounced with it. And he was a great finisher at the rim, Rod Strickland. All the New York City guys can finish at the rim. If you haven't noticed, they got the English on the backboard. Kenny Anderson, I told you, Mark Jackson said Rod Strickland. You know, Bob Cousy was from New York City, guys, right? Bob Cousy from New York City. So we talk about some of the great point guards. New York City throwing out some great point guards in the history of the game. And when you think about Mark Jackson, when I used to watch Mark Jackson pass the basketball, Mark Jackson, I remember Mark Jackson used to do a little, you know what I'm saying? But Mark Jackson used to do the little, his passes were crazy. They were some of the flashiest passes that I had ever seen in my life. Up there, I told you, Magic Johnson, Jason Kidd, you know what I'm saying? Jason Williams, White Chocolate. These guys, Mark Jackson's passes were crazy flashy, man. Yeah, the shimmy Mark Jackson used to do. And Mark Jackson had that floater. The Mark Jackson floater. Mark Jackson's, I told you, New York City guys, they can finish at the rim. They got the finishing ability. Mark Jackson, that floater. Before Tony Parker, Mark Jackson floater was money, man. So again, shout out to a lot of those guys. Yeah, you're right, J-Bo. That's right. The Godfather talk, you can tell. And I told you, when you think about it and you watch when Rod Strickland, I told you, in the 90s, they were strictly more stricter officiated back in the days. So when you watch those guys handle the rock and do some of the moves that they could do, like I said, it was crazy. And I told you, like Mark Jackson's thought of as a lesser guy at the point guard position, right? But the dude was sensational. One of the best passes of that era, guys. I mean, the passes were insane, man. Insane passes from Mark Jackson. Actually, the last New York Knicks player to win Rookie of the Year was Mark Jackson. Yeah, you're right, you guys. That's right. Kendall Gill. That's right, Kendall Gill on the Hornets too. I remember. I mean, that team was a good team, man. I love that Hornets team. I always liked Kendall Gill too. Kendall Gill had a swag to him that I always appreciated and liked about Kendall Gill. Even I told you I did a video on Kendall Gill a couple months back. Kendall Gill was in an interview, and he told you, I told you guys, Kendall Gill talked about the I think it was the top 5 guys that he had to defend. I think it was. And the number 1 guy, he had Michael Jordan, number 2, right? And number 1, he had Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf. And I told you guys, when you think about Kendall Gill and what he said that Michael Jordan was better than the game. And I thought that was a sensational way to put it, what he said. And I respect Kendall Gill and the list that he put out. I can't remember some of the other guys. I think he might have had Vince Carter on the list. I think he had Kobe on there. I'm trying to remember who else he had on that list. I know that might have been. I know he had Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf number 1 and Jordan number 2. But I really appreciated what he said because he didn't just give you some names, right, and make it about his own emotions or like about some personal preference. He actually broke down why he felt it was difficult to guard, these particular players. And he talked about Michael Jordan being better than the game. And, he talked about, Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf and what it was like going against Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf and why he was so difficult to defend. And remember, for a lot of these bigger guards or the shooting guards like a Kendall Gill, trying to guard someone like a Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf, that's a difficult task. When you think about someone like, I remember Michael Jordan talking about Damon Stoudemire, shout out to once again Damon Stoudemire, another point guard, Mighty Mouse from that time into the 2000s. I remember Michael Jordan talking about trying to stay in front of these guys or someone like a Stephon Marbury. Right? I remember him talking about this in the second 3P, right? Trying to stay in front of some guys like a Stephon Marbury and the explosiveness and the quickness that they have on the basketball court. Allen Iverson, right? These guys are hard to stay in front of, right? Out there on the perimeter. And, for a guard like Michael Jordan, some of these shorter, quicker guys, this was always a challenge. I told you Michael Jordan would take these challenges on, and he would guard these guys and attempt to guard these guys. Like I said, like a Rod Strickland, in that sense, like a Gary Payton, like a John Stockton, he would guard, a lot of these point guards, some of the smaller, quicker guys out there on the perimeter, man. He would run around after these guys, man. So again, I know sometimes, we miss, some of these guys and we don't mention some of these players. I always try to, we always go into these different avenues when I'm doing these live shows. And, I really appreciate you guys adding to the conversation, the chat, throwing guys' names out there and talking about different things. Like I said, and bringing up some of these players. Like I said, it does. It's good, man. Like I said, some of these names, some of these guys we haven't thought of, in a while. And like I said, a lot of these guys went out there and they were true pros. Like I said, man, yeah, they weren't Hall of Famers maybe, or the greatest players of all time. But like I said, they left the, like I said, think about it. A lot of these guys, we remember them because they always were there on the court. So, like I said, if you had a favorite team that you always watched, right, and these other teams are coming in and playing these teams. Like I told you, a lot of times in my household, we watched the New York Knicks. We all know the Chicago Bulls were on TV a lot, but I watched the New York Knicks a lot. So whoever the Knicks were playing, right, you start to, learn about a lot of these guys. They start to develop and earn a reputation when you're watching them. You're like, damn, who is this guy? You're like, damn, who is Terry Porter? Like, damn, this guy keeps knocking the shot down. Who's Kevin Johnson? Like, damn, this guy's actually really good. I've never seen this guy before. And all of a sudden, every time the Knicks are playing against the Phoenix Suns, and I'm like, all right, here we go. This guy, Kevin Johnson, is going to be a problem now, right? Every time your team plays against a certain team, you're like, oh, man, now we got to deal with Chris Mullin. Now we got to deal with this guy. So you remember a lot of these players because of the reputation that they developed, going against maybe your favorite team. And some guys played really good against certain teams, right? Like I'm sure a lot of the Cleveland Cavalier fans were getting fed with Michael Jordan, like a lot of the New York Knicks fans were, like a lot of the Indiana Pacers fans were, Detroit Pistons fans, a lot of different fan bases develop, these, feelings against these players because they end up, developing and earning a reputation, going against your team. And you're like, damn, like Reggie Miller, right? Reggie Miller come to town. You're like, damn, man, we don't want the game to be close. And all of a sudden, Reggie got the ball in his hands. And you're like, damn, again with this guy. Right? There's a lot of guys that have this reputation like on your team. You're like, damn, man, this guy's coming to town. Every time we play against this dude, he always does good against us. Oh, man, listen, guys, I think I'm going to end the live on that, man. I think this is a good live. I didn't even realize that it was 2 hours already that we had been talking about. Like I said, I really appreciate you guys hanging around this late, this long with me. Damn, I hope I didn't miss anybody, man. Shout out to Praise to Don for coming through. Shout out to Sports and Fitness Rants. Much love. Nah, man, much love to all you guys. Like I said, man, I'm truly humbled that you guys come through or ever donate to my channel. Like I said, it really means a lot, man. Again, the Lakers are not contenders, right? Luka Doncic, remember, again, Luka Doncic goes down with the injury, and we never want to see these guys get hurt. So I'm wishing well for Luka Doncic, but a hamstring injury is tough, guys. That's a tough injury to come back from. Like I said, especially if you got to sit out and then try to come back, that's going to be really tough, man. So we all wish Luka Doncic well because without Luka Doncic, LeBron James it's over for your boy LeBron James. So, oh, goodness gracious, man. Yo, like I said, Laney Music, what up, man? Yo, Chris Garcia, Dana Green, yo, Somos Bandidos, Heath Overledger. Yo, I hope you guys have a good rest of your night. Cottage, what up? I hope you guys have a good rest of your Friday night. I hope you guys have a great weekend. You guys know that I will be doing a Sunday live. Maybe I can get my boy A-Ways to come with me on the Sunday lives. A-Ways not really into the lives right now. His channel's taking a little bit of a hit, so he's a little bit down in the doldrums right now. I'm trying to resuscitate AOH, man. All right, you guys, reach out to AOH, send him some good comments, send him some well wishes. Tell him to not be so down on the YouTube stuff. And I get it, man. It's tough out here in the YouTube streets. Some of us depend on this. I told you guys, this is not my job, guys. I don't do this for my job. So I don't look at this like that. All right. So again, I'm truly humbled for all you guys donating to my channel. Like I said, the emails, the messages, some of the stories you guys share with me. Like I said, man, sometimes you guys make me want to cry because, like I said, it really means a lot, man. So you guys reach out to AOH, man. Like I said, man, I hope he really, like I said, man, we'll do a live. I'm going to do a live on Easter probably, man, on Easter Sunday. Dude, I just realized it's Easter Sunday. I don't know if I have anything going on early in the morning, so I might try to do an Easter Sunday live on Sunday morning maybe. I see my wife says first, actually. Let me ask my wife about that, actually, before I start promising things and doing things, because I don't even know if I'll be allowed to do it live on Sunday with Easter going on. But I don't know if we're doing anything. All right. Usually we do something. I don't know. I don't think we're doing anything. All right. Because normally by now, we're usually hosting stuff. So I haven't heard anything. So I might do a Sunday live for Easter Sunday. Again, I know maybe not all of us celebrate Easter, but my family does. Like I said, I grew up, I'm Catholic. My mother is very religious with the Catholics. So she's Italian, man. The Italian people are, man. My mother is super, everything with God, man. Like, all right, Mom, we get it. I told you, man, it was mad funny growing up because my dad don't believe in nothing. I told you, my dad grew up in the streets. He believes in the streets. He prays in the streets, my dad. But I remember as a kid being like, how come dad don't got to go to church and we be at church? I told you, I went to Sunday school, guys. Communion, confirmation, all that stuff, guys. So again, man, we'll see what happens, man. But yeah, I got to talk to my wife first, man, because let's be real. I am in charge of the schedule sometimes, man. So again, you guys have a great weekend. I really appreciate all you guys out there, man, coming through again. Like I said, it's truly, truly humbling, man. Hope you guys have a great weekend. Happy Easter to everybody out there. If I can't do a Sunday live, man, hope you guys enjoy the weekend, man. Thank you very much, man. You guys know the deal, man. I'll catch you guys on the next one.